Yeah. I'm feeling like a star, you can't stop my shine. I'm loving Cloud City, my head's in the sky. I'm solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo. Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight. Finally feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright.
All right, what is
Just
up,
let us know when we're
everybody?
going to start.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're here. We're back. This is Golden Dice. As you can tell, we have Mr. Chip on our show.
Hey,
with us.
Jack. Oh, my gosh. This is so much
episode
fun.
56.
I hope
We
you got
did,
Scott and Brian.
Yeah, we got Scott and Brian here, too. They're with us. Scott,
Allegedly.
Why would you want that boob?
We can talk Ewoks all night.
Wait,
Me.
who's the boob? You're the
Brian.
boob?
What a boob.
Brian is the boob. That makes sense.
I mean, yeah, this is episode 56, the Ewoks. So if you want to head over to, oh gosh, what was the web
It's a
address?
tough one. It's Ewoks.discardtoreroll.com.
Yeah.
You can see the match.
Just head
That
over
was
there.
just, it started it all, Jack. Let's be honest. It started it all.
I don't know about that, but it was certainly
Came
like
close.
it started the memes of dreams.
Jack, in that actual YouTube clip, you said, and I quote, "If you're not preparing for this at Gen Con, you're making a mistake."
Truth.
You said it.
Truth. And that wasn't even the AR, which was,
Yep.
obviously put it over the top. But yeah, we don't have to let Brian relive that that
Please
night
no.
again. Although it is our 4th most viewed video of all time, and I expect it to
Good
creep
lord.
up with Chip creating a web address
Ewoks.discardtoreroll.com.
just for it. But yeah, so Chip, I messaged him. So I forget. Chip said we should reconnect. I was like, all right, you should come on the cast. And then he's like, only if you come on my cast first. So now it seems like I went on his, and then I was just like, oh, how about you come on mine? But just letting everybody know this was my idea. He got to it first. He records on Mondays. I'll let
That's
it
the
slide.
key.
He hooked me because
First
he's
in,
like,
baby.
yeah, Banana's got a kid. He's not going to be able to make it. And then guess who was
Yeah,
there?
but you could have just asked him on a Tuesday, and then we record on a Wednesday, and then boom, his Monday. This seems like your mistake.
I don't want to be last minute with people, Scott. All right, not everybody has no lives like us. Where they can just do anything at night, any given night.
Right,
mean-
Brian?
Absolutely.
You're just referring to like Brian and you, apparently.
You're here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I made a commitment to be here, unfortunately.
Exactly. You needed to know in advance about this. Point
He's
for
a working man now. And Jack, you said you've just been nonstop testing for Worlds. Nonstop.
I wish.
I don't know about that.
Azeroth
Well,
has
no-
needed my saving, and we're slowly defeating the Horde as we go through.
yeah.
One farmer murderer at a time.
Yeah.
This is the rebirth. This is your chance, Jack. Tonight is going to inspire you.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we should just get the sad news out of the way. Our patrons already know, but Tommy said
Don't
he's going
say
to be taking a little bit of a break from Destiny, just with the 2 kids, and he kind of doesn't feel like he's in the loop of the game. He still loves the game and everything like that. It's not like frustration at FFG or whatever. But
Game's dead. Back it up, boys.
He told FFG to suck his.
yeah, exact
There it is.
quote.
Yeah.
I hope you have a
thing.
timestamp
Wow.
for that one.
It really sounds like Tommy just really coming out in that sentence.
Yeah.
I could hear him
And then-
saying that. Actually.
And then little Thomas was like, "Yeah, Dad, you tell him." And then Mark was like, "Yeah."
Good story. That's a
Because
classic.
Tommy's kids or
Tommy's week old kid can talk.
That'll go down in the
2 weeks old
chronicles
kid.
of the Philippi adventures.
Yep.
But yeah, Tommy's
It happened.
he's taking a step back. He'll try to pop on when he can, but I wouldn't expect him to be on the cast or streaming anytime soon. Probably off for the next set or 2. So we'll see what
Hey,
happens.
but don't worry, because you got us still.
Yeah, you still got the primetime spotlight,
Yeah.
the memes. I mean, that's what everybody's here for. Is just whatever's happening with Brian.
Hell
Hashtag free Brian. Hashtag
Hey.
free Brian, man.
yeah. If you're looking for some more torture in Jack's basement, and I'm leaving it exactly
Oh.
how it sounds.
This cast has gotten bad. This really went south.
4 minutes.
Quick.
Hashtag bring Tommy back. But if you're looking for some more fun, I will be playing a deck on the stream on Friday, probably.
Oh, we're
Maybe.
streaming? Oh, we can stream.
I don't know. I thought we were just recording, or I don't know what we're doing.
We'll do some stuff.
It's a play it by ear kind of thing.
Brian is being ambitious.
I'm just making up for the lost time I haven't been here.
Yeah.
Have you
Get my
started
word
recording yet? Just real quick. Are we started?
Yeah,
Okay,
we
just
started.
making
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just
We're 4 minutes in. 4 minutes 20 seconds. But so
perfect.
we've gotten a lot of news. We won't hit up most of the balance of the Force, but Scott and Brian didn't get a chance to talk about that in the new rules reference. So I'll definitely give them a pass. But if you're looking for a majority of my thoughts, I mean, I might end up still getting into them. But I was on Discard to Reroll this past week, so of course go check that out if you haven't already. But the Balance of the Force came out Tuesday, and is saying that it'll be officially available for primes, which is amazing. I don't know, the 5th and the 12th we're going to feel like duds, and my motivation to go is, I don't know, going down a little bit, knowing they would have been on a stale and not relevant meta. I mean, games are always relevant to get, but results were going to be irrelevant. So yeah,
prizes are awesome.
Yes, prizes are sweet. They're the Rey and Kylo stuff, in case anybody forgot. We also got, like, people were getting them today, Wednesday, basically. The pictures that were going around, floating around. Dude, T.O. doesn't get a mat. The heck, man. That's why I did it. Whole reason
Must
T.O.
actually
dude.
win and not
Wait,
bubble out.
I thought there was an extra mat in there.
There's 8 for the top 8 and 1 for the champion. So, I mean, I guess a TO could be like, yeah, this is my map. But, I mean, that seems kind of weird. But even at the bottom, it says 1 copy of each extended art and 1 copy of each plastic card are organized discretionary prizes.
That's all you deserve.
So,
You know, you should be doing this for the love of the game, Chief, not monetary. And by monetary, I mean Matt game.
I said yes before I knew the prizes.
That's true. Good guy, Jack. Good guy, just Jack. Chief.
That'll be a Kappa Cup. If you guys haven't registered, you should do that. It's the weekend after Worlds. The 26th is the prime. It is a prime. So, kappacup.net. There's the plug. Go ahead, check it out. But we got an email like last week from Matt Holland discussing the changes, but the new one, and which I would want to start with, is that Phasma is taken off the Balance of the Force. That was not in the email. Matt must have forgot it. He probably saw the Balance of the Force, saw that she wasn't on there, didn't realize she was taken off, and just didn't type it out. What do you guys thought? Does this bring Red Villain aggro or just Villain aggro into the fold? Does her going down to 13 open up some big pairings, or is it just Gideon was already 13, he didn't do the job, Phasma's not going to do the job either?
She's better than Gideon.
Yeah, to be fair, I thought that...
To be fair.
I thought that Gideon would be better. And I think maybe it was my piloting, or maybe it was, my sequencing or whatever have you, but he just didn't work out for me. So I think Phasma's a better character overall. She's got solid dice. I like her special. She's got the extra health. And, I mean, Kylo 2 and Phasma were a great pairing to begin with. So I think you'll see that pop up a lot, at least at regionals or primes. I can't get used to it ever. But primes, she'll be there, I think, for sure with Kylo. If not, in a different 3-wide. I think that her in a Rainbow 3-wide is definitely viable. I'm excited to see her back. And I liked her to begin with, but
yeah, only you would talk about a Phasma 3-way. I think the deck you want to see is you're going to see at Worlds is Phasma IG-88. Everybody wanted to play IG-88. For some reason, everybody loves that character. It was in like for 8 seconds in the actual movies. But Mandalorian.
I think that might actually be generous.
yeah, like right. It wasn't like
I think he's in a
barely.
frame.
All right,
One
you want to know why people love IG-88?
Do it.
Well, one, he was in that Dash Rendar video game, Shadows of the Empire.
Oh, right. Yep. It's true.
But then also, if you think of all the people that had either played the Star Wars CCG or had the Star Wars CCG cards, all of those bounty hunters had like a ton of weapons. So you had a bunch, and like their ships. So you had a bunch of cards that constantly like had a bunch of backstory or a little bit of backstory or referenced all of those bounty hunters, especially IG-88, because he's got he's a droid. He's got a bunch of guns. So that's why people love IG-88.
Yeah, and then the Mandalorian trailer. I don't want to. Can we do? It's not really a spoiler, but
that's
like
not IG-88.
Well, it's one of them. They're the same thing, aren't they? They're brothers. What are they?
Well, that's just another
bros?
IG droid.
Okay,
I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's the same thing.
Do they all spin around and do that cool thing with the gun?
Yeah, there's a bunch of IG droids. Do you remember the original Clone Wars cartoon with Dirge?
No.
Wait a minute, let me reflect back. No.
I was 7.
Let me reflect back. No.
but it's cool though. It is very cool.
Yeah, there was IG Lancer droids in it. They were awesome.
Whoa.
They look like Muns. The Muns used the IG. They created the IG droids. That the guys with the long heads.
So every time we go somewhere and WoW, this is what Scott does. He goes, so did you know what this is? And then I get like a 10-minute explanation of lore while I'm walking to the next place. This is like Scott's just an encyclopedia.
Yes, very
a wealth of knowledge.
Full of knowledge.
I've managed to distract myself from my studying by reading the Battlestar Galactica Wikipedia.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
The reboot or the re-reboot or the original?
The one with
Starbuck?
Edward James Olmos. There's Starbuck in both of them.
Oh yeah, reboot.
So I think really like the point that you guys are making right here about Phasma is like a really good one. If she went into the Star Trek world, I think she would be a top
Captain
tier.
Kirk.
Well, she's already in Game of Thrones.
Top
so,
tier. Top tier.
She's better than Gideon. A focus is better than a one disrupt side that can't be leveraged the way that some of the disrupt sides have been. And leader and +1 health are actually big things.
Yeah, and I like not having to run that card seizing territory anymore. Like I
Yeah,
feel like I'm
it's-
running
Yeah,
Gideon,
it kind of
I
wastes
have
2
to.
slots.
Your opponent can immediately make Hask worse by just getting the battlefield, which is usually something that is advantageous to them anyway.
I agree.
Now, Chip, what
I
do
don't
you
think
like
Hask
about...
is bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think he's awful, but Phasma, like you said, extra point, not indirect damage side, and a potential 3 side, and a
Yep.
focus, just all better.
I focus.
Yeah. Chip, you mentioned IG88. What is it like? What do you see in that pairing? What do you see it doing? Do you think Bounty's like IG88 just being able to spread out a lot of damage and Phasma can clean up? Like you just find a pure aggro, or are you gonna run Bounties with it? What do you
I think it's
imagine?
pure aggro. I think people want to play that. I get the whole idea of playing 3 wide and dirtling and turtling and all of that stuff. But that's not why I got into Destiny. It's not the game I like to play. And I think people want to play big characters. And IG88 is one of those, characters that even though it's in the movie for a second, that it's got big die sides, it's got a good, power action. Its ship is good. What is it called? The IG88 ship.
IG-2000.
IG-2000.
Yeah, it's great. And I think it's competitive. It's not tier 1, but I think the errata and the nurse helped bring some of these decks that might have had no chance to at least have somewhat of a chance. And when you have 500 players at Worlds, I mean, really, it's going to bring a lot more casual players. This is the type of stuff they're going to want. You're going to see Kylo Phasma's back for sure. I don't know if it's good anymore. It's certainly good into to Raylo, but I think with IG88 particularly, you get to play some of the fun stuff, and it's a card that people like to dust off. So, and never got to play with all the new cards that they bought. And seeing that you're with those cards for 6 months, you might as well play something different.
What do you think is going to be played more at Worlds? Do you think it'll be IG88 or Kylo with Phasma?
Neither. I don't think that's going to be. I think it's good for regionals, but I don't think it's going to be at Worlds.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be competitive, like super competitive at Worlds?
I think Kylo will be at Worlds simply because by that point there won't be any events prior to Worlds. Worlds will be the first one with this.
With this? No. All
almost.
the primes have it.
The primes before Worlds?
Yep, 5 and 12.
Yeah.
This is legal
Okay,
the second.
they changed it?
Yeah, they went
Yeah,
back.
October 2nd is when it's
Okay, I thought it
legal.
was for some odd reason. I remembered the 2, and I thought it was like changing after the ones on the 12th.
Nope.
I still think it's still a lot of like lead time. I think people will definitely bring Kylo Phasma.
I think so too. Like, I mean, I don't know. If we've been talking about how good Raylo is, if we've been talking about how like that's the deck to beat, I mean, this is to me a clear one into it. I mean, sure, Ray can blank Kylo, but you're doing 2 damage every activation, and Phasma can actually close, with the best of them.
right. That's the key.
And I don't know. I think it's good, and I just think Blue-Red has a lot of good stuff in it. Right now that you have Phasma, you can run stuff like counterintelligence, which you couldn't with Hask or any other kind of aggro pairing. So I don't know. I like it. I think I would need to. I haven't played any IG88. I've played a little bit of Kylo Phasma, and I have liked it. I think it can stick around. Obviously, the worry is once you get to the 3 wide rainbows that everybody loves. Kylo is obviously, what am I calling? Like, am I going to hit? What's my percentage chance here? And but I think the top tier players who know the meta and what could potentially be within decks. I know it might be hard to know meta, but you can generally know what's going to be in a deck. If they can do the math and hopefully call what they think will give them the best numbers, I think Kylo could be relevant still against those 3 wides. If it had something like close quarters assault, I think that brings it back. But
We also have to consider like people that may not know the meta against a 3 wide and are bringing the Kylo deck and have a really bad matchup there because they don't know those matchups, but then they still have the good matchup against your all blue deck.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're also going into it's 500 people at Worlds. So, while we say, we might know what's in a deck, right? If you can, scan the meta, you're still going through the first couple of rounds of what the hell is everyone bringing as far as, oh, wow, I've got, a little bit of cards from each set. I can kind of throw something together. I mean, since it isn't not invite only, it's kind of whoever wants to go, they can go. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, and I think the early rounds definitely, but even like at Worlds last year, which I mean was like 260, I think. Was it that big? I don't remember exactly. It was actually a surprising amount of like people were running kind of it was more of a settled meta, but there still was like random decks, but you can kind of you can make educated guesses on like, all right, what is this deck? It's an aggro deck and it's got these two colors. All right, probably at least 15 cards are this color because this, and it might have 2 or 3 grays and then, 12 of the other color. So, and then it's more so like counting how many cards they've played already, like of that color, which is a big thing for Kylo, which sometimes I struggle to do and sometimes I forget. And I'm like, oh yeah, they did hold on to that card. I probably should have called that color because I knew that card was in there.
You
type
knew that
thing.
they had at least one card in their hand, and odds are they're going to draw some of the same.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely not good. Like, I don't want to sit, if I'm playing Kylo Phasma, I don't really want to sit down across from Jabba.
It's definitely not good. I love that. It's definitely not good. It's terrible.
No, I'm saying it's good, but it's not a good matchup into Jabba.
Oh, good matchups.
Yeah. But I mean, I like it against, I mean, even other 2-wides, like something like Vader or Maul.
Well, yeah, because I mean, a lot of the 2-wide decks, they might be 2 different colors, but sometimes it's as drastic as like 6 cards off color.
Yeah,
It's
they
a crapshoot.
they can burn somebody.
I'm thinking back to IG88. Like, you know why I like that, Jack? Back to your question there. It's got that old school like speed, that you want. Like, I'm thinking IG88 with its dice. You got a Dunderbuss going on it, right? Isn't that redeploy for 2, and then you can activate right away?
Yep.
Like, it's got a little bit of that speed there. People might not know what the hell's coming at them. Jabba's Palace is a good battlefield there. You gain a resource and spot a bounty and force somebody to lose one. Seize the day you can play in there. So it just seems fun to me.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I'd like both those options. Like, I like coming out swinging hard and seeing what people can answer. Because, I mean, ultimately, Worlds before that was a lot of aggro. It was sometimes a little bit more sustained. Like, I wouldn't really say, like, Rey Ayla Profitable was aggro, but it certainly was, like, just doing damage with their character dice and kind of shielding up. And then Kylo Anakin won Worlds.
Right.
Something like that could definitely be a surprise. I would be shocked, I don't know, if somebody found something that was really good and brought it to Primes. So, unless they were desperate to make sure they get a World seat for next year. But I would expect a lot of stuff to kind of pop up at Worlds, and we'll kind of see if Kylo or Phasma is in that mix. But I do like where they're currently at, but I don't think it's a top deck. Like, I don't think it's like a what Satine was before type thing. I think it's probably like a 1.5, just step below a lot of the tier ones, but can certainly
Something
weigh
I've
in
been
everything.
Primes.
I think IG88 Phasma would be much better if Chancellor's Edict was not a blue card.
Yeah, Chancellor's Edict is a downgrade bounty. After it's played, you remove all shields from attached character, and then after you defeat him, you get 2 shields.
It's basically the other good bounty.
Yep.
Yeah, because the only good bounty is Dead or Alive.
Yeah, because again, we're back to needs to do something when it goes out on the board because the synergies are there, but not overwhelmingly there.
Yeah, the only
I don't know. I wouldn't sleep on bounties. Just saying. Like, people are forgetting about Shadowed, right? After attached character uses its action, including power action, you may deal 1 indirect to its controller. That's any time, so you don't have to exhaust it. So I don't know. I think that's pretty good for 0.
I'll say that I do like. We'll get into a little bit about like what if you're going to Worlds, what you should do. I do like Forlom still, and I think like if you can get him into like the 3-wide and be like an aggro deck with him and really get the bounties popping off, I think that could be crazy. Like, I've played games with him. The first time I played, it was like I had Dead or Alive, the draw one, and the get 2 resource one. I forget the names of all of them. Wanted and Deathmark. I don't exactly remember which one is which. But it's like, so I got a resource. I killed the person, got a resource from Dead or Alive. I drew 3 cards from, I think it is Deathmark, and then I got 2 resources from Wanted, and then all 3 went back into my hand.
Wanted is the 2 resources. Deathmark is the cards.
Yeah, and it's like I got all 3 back into my hand. I got 3 resources, and I drew 3 cards, and so it's just
It's fun, isn't it?
absurd.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Good value.
Yeah, and so Forlom really, like, I think if bounties are gonna be present, I think he would be my go-to guy currently. Before you mentioned the deck, what did it won like a Trilogies before? Trilogies GQ, the Django Dangar.
Yep. Yeah,
That one's
I
interesting
like it
as well.
But I'd love for that to work. I think it's close. I think it's really close, but it runs really light on mitigation. So I mean, you have to be super fast, and it's hard to be. You're trying to jam all these bounties, and that runs the plot. Any means necessary, which I love. I mean, you're doing unblockable damage, which is big. So I think it's got good matchups. We'll see. It's definitely on my it's on my short list. It's on my short list.
Cool.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it might be on my short list if I take it to primes and don't make the
good
cut.
point there.
Yeah. If
A lot
Flock
of
beats you.
pressure.
Flock beats you. So you
Oh,
gotta
God,
reset.
he's going to be there too, son of a.
Yeah.
That pie face, yeah.
Have fun with that.
He's gonna beat you with Tall's
Man.
and
Oh,
Iron.
if he does, I should run DJ. Yeah, DJ's actually with Ewoks maybe not being around. I don't know. People are still trying to make it work. God, now's the time. Time to shine, baby. Bring out the spot gloss. Thanks to Golden Dice. I walked away with
Whoa.
that beauty.
Whoa.
He's like the ugliest card. It's just so bad. It's just him like sitting there like a doofus.
Don't lump
Yeah.
rest of us into Flockton convincing you.
Flockton.
The man, the myth, the legend. All right. Any other thoughts on Phasma?
Wow, you're still talking about Phasma this whole time. That's hilarious.
Well, yeah, there was
I
overarching
didn't,
things.
I didn't realize that.
What about
I mean,
Phasma 2?
no,
Come back for Phasma 2. Too soon, Jack? Is it too soon?
3. It would be 3.
Three. Phasma.
3?
Yeah, the first one was.
Well,
the one
that's
with
3. That's right. 2 is this one. 3 is the one that you lost to at the trilogy event.
Yeah, by the mastermind Scuttlebutt.
Ding.
Scuttlebutt, man.
Yeah.
Too bad
Do you have
that
a
wasn't
ding there,
recorded.
What's that?
He doesn't have a
Do you have a
soundboard.
Oh, you have a soundboard tonight? Oh, it's such a shame.
Yeah, I did. I wish I did. I wanted to make sure that the audio was crystal clear for the Golden Knights.
Yes,
Uh,
that is my one claim to fame in this whole wacky card game.
Right, and you got your buy for. Oh no,
No,
No, I just
we
got an
literally got
invite.
nothing. We literally
I
could
got
just
yeah.
not
this
gone
is-
and bought a ticket.
you got the invite. Yes, you could be one of the 500. Is there a special line? You
No,
No, I just didn't have
literally
to
nothing.
rush there. That was it. I
No.
got the relaxation of applying whenever the hell I wanted to.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. If they remembered.
They didn't have to wait in line. That's
Yeah.
actually.
No, there you go.
Truth.
Good times.
Yeah. All right. So, so that's Phasma. And what did you just mentioned Phasma 3. I'm sorry. I want to talk about that. I think she is pretty good in a decent spot, but I think she struggles against Raylo, which would make me nervous to bring.
The only reason I enjoyed playing a 2-wide at Nova is because like the health pool goes up. You can use it defensively and all that jazz. But like Phasma, I feel like if the droids get the right setup, they could just burst Phasma down so fast. And now that droids are kind of, I'd say there's probably still going to be around a little bit with the chopper version. But it makes me nervous playing Phasma 3 right now. Like trilogies is one thing, and it was convergence. Like there was no massive threat like that. But I wouldn't bring her out right now.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much becomes a race versus droids. It's like if you kill one turn 1, I think you're good, which Phasma can very well do with how aggro she is and the amount of dice she can roll out.
Right.
But if
But
she doesn't,
you still have to worry that they kill you before you get any value round 2.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you're killing one round 1, like if you're killing either R2 or 3PO, their like absurdness kind of really drops off. And so I think you'd be I'd be surprised if you kill one turn 1 and they still like kill you turn 2 before you get value. So I mean, I think you can do that, but if you don't, then you can be in a scary situation with Phasma. And then Raylo, they're just, I don't know, they're taking all those shields. You're doing a lot of like ping damage. They're blanking your dice with Ray, so I'd be more nervous about Raylo than droids, but wouldn't really want to see droids either. So Phasma sucks, dude.
I feel like Raylo's going to be I'm going to sit down against 87 million of them.
Yeah.
In 8
And-
rounds, it'll feel like that. You know what I
Then
mean?
just run Kyla.
So for competitive players, that are really like practiced and seasoned, and that's a really, that deck's amazing.
So not us.
Right. For me, when I play that deck, it's like, holy crap. Like, it's just breaks my brain in half. Like I was in just the last few weeks, I'm trying to memorize exactly what each one of them do. Right. I mean, they almost look like the same thing. I don't know. It just confuses me. I'm not smart enough for that deck.
Raylo,
So I just need to play fast aggro and kill him.
Raylo is what you're talking about.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
talking about Rayla. Sorry. You weren't inside my brain. That's how
I
bad
get
it hurts my
I
brain.
It's a
understand.
dark place.
Yeah, it just hurts my right. I mean, like you really got to think that's not a super easy deck to play. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain lines that you have to take that maybe aren't as obvious, and I think one of the hardest parts of Raylo is building the correct 30 because I think there's a lot of different ways you can go that all generally work, but
You
know,
just have to know where you need to go with what you brought, because what you brought might slightly alter exactly where you need to set yourself up at.
yeah.
It's not the upgrade's fault that the upgrade's bad. You know what I'm saying there, Scott?
Yep.
I've said that from day one.
I don't know. There's yeah.
That's the quote of That's one of my favorite
Chewbacca's
quotes of all
blaster.
time.
It's now earned its place as the
Oh,
like
for sure.
preeminent murderer.
Yeah, that deck's or that card's good.
That
you
and
wanna
Fickle
see it-
Mercenary, right, Jack?
If you want to see a thesis on Chewbacca's blaster, you can go to Golden Dice.
Did you? What was the Did you call Fickle the most overrated card, Jack? Was
I
that
did.
your?
I
You?
did.
Yeah.
That was mine. Most overrated of Convergence. Thought it was only good
Yeah.
because Entourage, but obviously the single die or the one cost has kind of overwhelmed that.
I told Tommy and I told Jack, we're like, that card has existed in every FFG game. That same like super overcosted, steal it for some money, and we're like, it always ends up being really good.
Now we know. Now I have a
You're
2 of
right,
in
yeah.
pretty much every deck.
Yep.
I wouldn't say it's super overcosted. One.
I think he meant to say undercosted.
Oh.
Scott.
Yeah,
did
that's
you-
right. That's
yeah,
I more meant I'd super overpowered for the cost. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
minced words.
Cool. All right, Brian and Scott, do you guys want to? I mean, we talked a little bit about it. In case anybody hasn't heard, 3PO is now on the Balance of the Force at +1. He's 9/11. Wat Tambor should now read play a red support from your hand, paying its cost, then roll that supports die into your pool. And they also added Arena of Death, Droid's Day Out, and Ewok Warrior to the restricted list. Already on that list was C-3PO, Military Camp, Order 66, and Rebel Trader. Do you guys have any thoughts jumping out at you between these new restricted list cards, Balance of the Force, and errata?
I'll go first. I think that I don't think this is an original thought by any stretch of the imagination, but my thought is like I think Mill comes back. You know what I mean? Without oppressive droid shenanigans and Ewok shenanigans, because Arena of Death kind of made that deck what it was. I think that I'm not excited to see Mill come back. I'm not Drew. I don't love Mill. I want to see it die. Kill it if you have to. So like when I go to Worlds, I'm looking forward to playing Mill, Raylo, and Chopper Droids probably is going to be the dominating field, I would assume. And I could be totally wrong because there's 3 weeks in between, and someone likely the Luke's or Baby G or somebody will find some kind of miracle deck that kind of fits its way in and does crazy shenanigans, and we'll never see it coming. But I don't know. I think that the droids are good. I think C-3PO is good where he is after this balance, and people just probably get more creative in finding a way to sneak something else in. I don't know. I think that where one door closes, another opens.
It's a good life lesson right there.
Wow, that was like profound.
Yeah, it's a little little above Brian's normal pay grade.
Thank you.
Are you taking what Ray's taking? Holy cow, you're taking the same meds. Jesus.
I gotta take a turn of the day,
All right, 2 p.m.
Yeah, right.
Scott?
Oh my God.
I mean, they run the risk of this kind of. They could actually like hurt their variety because they eliminated some droid decks with the change, but like as we've said, like the Chopper droid deck doesn't really go away. It just kind of shifts around what they want to do. The Han droid deck gets a lot weaker. You could even say the Satine droid deck that gets a little bit different as well. But I think with Faithful Companions still being what it is, still being usable, that Mill still has like a big boogeyman because the value they were able to get from Faithful Companions, it never being turned off against Mill, is something that Mill has a big problem dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down. I mean, I think when I think of how good Mill is, part of me is just curious still about the droid Mill deck, which again actually keeps the same lineup.
Yeah,
I mean that's these Chopper droids.
That is the thing there. It could just be they could have steered themselves into even more droids. One
Yeah.
thing I'm just wondering why they keep kind of like tiptoeing around it. Why don't they just hit Entourage? They keep doing things around Entourage. Why don't they just finally say, you know what, this card does? Why does it search out things? Why does it only cost 3? Why does it have a 2 resource side? Why does it ramp up the amount of damage it does? It seems like they're just throwing a bunch of darts and constantly missing Entourage, and Entourage is sitting there with a giant bullseye on its face.
I'd have a dart.
You have a
We
dart.
don't promote smoking on this podcast, Brian.
I'd have a dart.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think I agree with Fist too. Like, I'm surprised it hasn't really been talked about more. I don't know about just villain supports in general. I mean, like, Watt gets hit here, but I still think villain supports can be very much alive. They just change their list, but probably still run Fist.
Oh, they definitely are. I played just the other night in my local, and there's some great players out there. Plug for Just Games in Penfield, where the prime that you should be going to on the 5th of October, when you Flockton will be there, of course. And they were all over the place. And just creative ways too. Like I'll give Jeremiah Ditch some credit out there. I played him last night, and he had a Claudite shapeshifter, which is always fun to see. Elite Watto, Elite Watt, nasty. It was nasty.
I'm so
Doing damage like crazy. Yeah, and it just it didn't feel like Watt was all that bad. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I did was when this thing got hit was I took out the 2 Fickles and 2 Entourages and put 4 TIE Fighters in my deck. And it's like literally the same 20 other 6 cards, but I put TIE Fighters in. It's pretty, it's kind of dumb still.
Yeah.
I'm way less threatened by TIE Fighters than I am Fickle Mercenaries.
Certainly, but if this deck can easily get to like 2 or 3 TIE Fighters turn 1 and then delve into Fist next turn.
Oh yeah, well, anything that can reliably get Fist out very early in the game is going to be successful because Fist puts out way more damage than it has business doing.
Yeah, and I mean, and I don't know what other. I mean, now you still get the Power Action Mega Blaster, so that's still a good card. For red, you now have the option of like Planetary Bombardment, or you could go Brian's Life of Super Laser Siege Cannons.
It's happening.
That's popular, man. It is. That is actually happening.
See,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I called Watto. I called Super Lasered Siege Cannon. I am a prophet, but just a few weeks slow.
Well, I think we always got to say that the predictions we make are for that current meta.
Yes.
So you get Watto. You still had him. He was still good.
No,
he got hit.
He's assuming it's 7D chess in Brian's brain. He knows that this is overpowered, and eventually that's going to have to be hit, so it's going to end up
Galaxy
on Super
brain
Laser Siege
plays.
Cannon.
I mean, but then don't we win Satine over Watto because Satine has been around much more in one.
Did 16 get hit, Jack?
I mean, the deck did.
Yeah, that's true.
Brian,
Watto-
it's hard to be a
Watto
prophet in your own land, Brian. It's very hard.
Thank you. All I'm saying is Watto got hit. Thank you.
And then still
Thank you.
came back around in Palpatine.
Thank
Yeah.
you for coming to my TED Talk.
Thanks for coming to my.
Destiny TED Talk, yes. I can only imagine the attendance. 500 at Worlds, you might sell out Destiny TED Talk.
Thank you for coming to my games.
What was the Ayla build with droids? Does that still work?
I think it was Han. No, I think it was like instead of
was Todd,
Han,
right, so right.
it was Ayla because they're both 12.
Oh, okay.
So now they run into the same issue of losing Faithful.
Yeah.
But yeah, Todd from Knights of Ren was big on that. He brought that to Nova.
He did well, right?
He started out 2-0. I'm not sure how he finished though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Watt's still in a good spot even with that change. And then people have been talking about like Piet over top of him, but I haven't really looked into that version enough to say, what's better. I mean, flipping to the resource on the Sentinel seems nice, but seems telegraphed. So
yeah, I think it's going to have a big place. I think you're going to still see a lot of it, and I think if you don't have desperate measures or a way to get rid of supports at Worlds, you're going to be in trouble. And a lot of those hero decks, they're just stuck.
Yeah, I mean, what's carried villain has just been the absurd supports they have, and it's like for characters
that didn't change.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's almost just like, all right, next in line, you hit this character. All right, let's find somebody else because it's supports that I'm really, digging for. So, and Watt's still relevant, like we talked. You just change. You run a little bit less overpowered supports.
Yep.
But yeah. So then Ewoks are also in the bin. With Arena of Death and Ewok Warrior, although it's still interesting. I mean, I say they're in the bin as little bit like hyperbole, I guess, but I still think they'll probably be played, but at a much smaller percentage, and probably a lower winning percentage. But I still think like Ewoks can be good. I mean, we talked about how good they were with that initial list, and that was even like super far from Toon. So it wouldn't surprise me if somebody still brings Ewoks and does decent enough with them because people stop teching for them, stop thinking about them, and even without their battlefield, they just they make do.
My Italian brethren, what are you talking about here, Jack? I mean, aren't you Italian too? Wasn't there Ewoks winning? Well, I guess it was an Arena of Death, wasn't it?
Yeah, Italian.
Oh, all right, never mind.
Italy.
I
We
take it
talked
back.
about this, dude. I don't even like that list. We talked about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could run it, but why would you want to?
Why would you want to?
Jack's, we need that on a shirt.
Yes, that's right.
But why would you want
That
to?
is Jack. That is.
No, it sounds like a great build. How about this? 3 other characters that are not yours on a different battlefield.
This is the thing I've heard the most. He's trying not to be like a jackass, so he's going. I mean, yeah, you could play it, but
you could do that.
What about this entirely different deck with a different pairing? And a different
Kess Rex is going to be great. Yeah, that's really good. What about this though? Palpatine Watto. What do you think about that? Why don't you try that?
My answer is always because I want to have fun, and Jack's like, "Well, does fun win?" Or
Oh,
No. I say, but Brian, you don't have fun when you start to do poorly, and you get very, very tilted very quickly.
so you don't
I mean,
use
I
that.
don't deny that.
I mean, but I think that's a legitimate question to ask. Like, if you're going to a Prime or Worlds, like, legitimately every card you put in your deck, it's just like,
No, I know.
why
I'm
am I
busting
doing
on
that?
you. Like I said, I've been trying. When I like take it seriously, like I can stumble my way through it after a couple drinks. I don't know, but no, I've been trying a little harder. Right, Jack? Right?
I mean, maybe in ideas, but none of us have played, like, I've played Artificery League, but I don't think any of us have played Destiny aside from the
I know.
the 2 games we
If
posted.
you want to consider what we did in the basement games of Destiny, I mean, sure.
Can I ask a rules question really quick? One of the things I had, like, I think I know the answer, but if any of these cards are on the restricted list, and now that's getting bigger, and particularly around battlefields. So if there is a battlefield restriction, and I'm playing a deck that could normally not run that battlefield because of the restricted list, but my opponent is, and I win the battlefield, since that's after setup, right? That's legal for me to take that, and the restriction is basically off, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the restriction is for deck building, not for...
Only for deck building,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so the restriction
And what about
is-
after setup effects too, right? I mean, so is it just for deck building and I present my deck and it's now legal, and whatever happens after that point, it's all bets off?
Is there a specific, like, for the battlefield, I know you said, but is there, for the after thing, is there a specific example like you were thinking of?
I'm just thinking in general terms, just making sure if I don't want to be embarrassed when I go to primes, just in case I have
So-
some amazing brews.
I guess one would be, like, you could still run Arena of Death with Chief Chirpa and then bring an Ewok. And, like, that's still legal. Like,
That's a good
if you bring the
example, yeah.
if you bring the Ewok with Chief Chirpa's ability, you can still run Arena of Death. You just can't have
Okay, well, that's good.
in your 30 points an Ewok.
Gotcha. Okay,
So,
interesting.
So yeah, so that's that.
And is it off for alliances too, or no?
Restricted, I would assume it applies.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's just. I mean, I think alliances, which is the 2-player game and updated, like, I'm pretty sure that just follows standard or like that just follows whatever side you're playing, standard, trilogy,
Right.
infinite, whatever format. There we go. That's the name, the word on the street. All right. Any other thoughts on Holocron updates, things like that? If not, we can just talk about, like, what should we expect now from Worlds and decks.
I'm gonna leave on a relatively higher thinking note for myself. So no, I'm good.
All right. There you go, Brian. Proud of you.
Thanks, Dad.
So yeah, Worlds is coming up. We got 2 primes before that. We'll see what comes out of them if people bring their best to guarantee an early seat because they think other people will be holding back, or if they're just people are just running some fun stuff, some aggro, just to get that out there, and then have something hidden for Worlds, which will be interesting. But Worlds is around 500 people, north of 500, I believe, is what Matt said last time, which is awesome. It's amazing that the game is at the point where we're getting 500 people for Worlds. Chip brought up a point. I don't know if you want to touch on that about just Worlds and attendance and things like that.
Yeah, I'll be happy to, Jack, because it's your show. Yeah, I think it's great. You get 500 people, and then what do you do for the next year? You completely restrict it and make it invite only, and then reduce the amount of events that people can actually qualify for it. So that's perfect for going backward. I mean, this is fantastic that they have this many people. Fantastic that they have 500 people plus. I mean, it's more, right? It might even be like 520. So that's unbelievably impressive. I'm one that you wait till you get stuff before you order bins and filing cabinets. And that's exactly what I think. They're trying to over organize the game before it has a chance to really take off. And when you do that, now it's starting to finally take hold. As much as they've tried to do things to it that have just tried to put it in the ground, it just refuses to die. And this is proof of that. But now you cut it back so that it's invite only. I just think that's I don't know. I want you guys to have that prestige and that opportunity and all the competitive people that talk about it. But I'm telling you, this isn't the game for that. You can still get to that competitive moment with Worlds to be fantastic. And when you get to Top Cut, it's going to be amazingly competitive, and we're going to watch it all the way through. But I think you don't need to cut your nose off to spite your face. And I think by restricting it and limiting the amount of people that can attend, it's not a great idea. That's just me.
Just you. You're the only person who thinks that.
But why? Like, why would you? How much does it cost? Give me what was the number you had to pay to play?
50.
Okay. So hey, do we have an accountant on this podcast? What's 50 times 500?
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. I think that's you could pay for people to be there to help. I mean, why wouldn't you want to do that? I'm struggling to see why you'd want to restrict it. For like, World should be your celebration of the game, and yeah, you want it to be competitive, but look, it's not freaking Wimbledon, right? Like, and it's going to be competitive.
Yeah.
Once you get past that cut, it'll be just as competitive as anything else.
And I'll say, so I was joking with my comments, and you're the only one. I was kind of in that boat. Like, I understand like the potential pros to making it invite only, but like having been to Worlds last year, my first reaction when I got back was like, all right, all of us have to go next year. Like, let's go. Like, it's
Right.
seriously so much fun. I'd recommend anybody, even if you can't do any other event in the year, whether you consider yourself competitive or casual, like Worlds is such an amazing event because of stuff like the community. And we've talked about how good the community is within Destiny, and Worlds is like the climax of that, where we're all able to come together and hang out. And the potential loss of that as we go to invite only is like a little concerning for me. And even, way back when we were talking about should we do invite only, is this good for the game? Like, what is it? I mean, that was my concern. I think it really, if it ends up being Worlds invite only, but still has a large amount of invites, it still might push people to go to primes more, and spike attendance there. I would have said it could have made you go to more GQs, but rest in peace GQs after that. But yeah, so I mean, like, there's pros to it, but overall, just like the best experience for Worlds was the fact that the community was there, right? I got to meet people from Brazil, from Europe. It was really just like an awesome time. And the competitive, I sat down and I was like, wow, these people are insane from round one. Like, it wasn't even like day two is when it got crazy. I was having hard competitive games from round one. And it might have been because I was playing somebody from New Jersey. Shout out to Dan, who's awesome. So we all know the cream of the crop come from New Jersey. But, it was competitive all the way through, even with 250 or whatever it was last year.
I don't know. Flocked is from New Jersey, so am I. So
he's in New York now. It's fine. Just let him. Let him.
But like, think about the things that have happened to this game, and we know all of us are critical because we actually care. We're critical because we love you, and the reality is it was 250 last year for their Worlds. Now it's 500. Like, why would you ever want to restrict that? Like, I just don't see any reason to do that. Like, you made one of the bigger blunders where the set's not coming out for 6 months, and no matter whose fault it is, that's bad. We could agree that's bad. But it's still like, it doesn't feel bad right now because it's competitive season. They mixed it up with the errata. That was smart. The primes are starting. The prizes are good. Like, it's actually unbelievably has momentum, even after they had such a huge blunder with the set release. So, Enforced Friday's coming up, by the way. Spoiler, I'm going to guess something's going to happen, and we all have been dancing around that one, but there might be something that comes out. We don't know. So there's so much momentum behind the game now, I think. And then, you know, the movies are going to come out, and Mandalorian, and oh yeah, well, let's make Worlds next year 16 people or whatever it's going to be.
I do like. I mean, the specifics would really matter to me because, right, if it goes invite only and it's 200 people, like, I'd still rather.
How are you going to invite 200 people? Like, how many did you have at your wedding, Jack? Did you have 200 people at your wedding? I mean, come on. There's 200 people to play Destiny. You're going to get at a competitive event. I mean, if they make it top 16 or whatever, top at a primes qualify, like, but they haven't been saying that, have they?
No, just winner.
Just winner, just one.
But there's no way. Like, I would expect something to take GQ's place, like something to where there's an invite going out. There's no way that they have a card game in which they can fit as many people as they really want into a space be top 16, right? I mean, how many people are X-Wing for Worlds? Like several hundred? I mean, I don't know the exact number on it, but I know that it's a large amount. And then their last chance qualifier is top 64 get into Worlds. And so it's like if at least 64 people are qualifying for X-Wing, which is a much longer game, takes more space, I'd imagine something similar would be available to Destiny. Because then those same, like if you go to a last chance qualifier, you can still do, say next year for Worlds, you do that. You can still stay and do the pods and side events and things like that. You just can't compete in the main event, which is obviously a big draw for people. But I don't like. I'm hesitant to say that I'm for it being invite only. I still think I prefer open, but like I do see the potential values. And I mean, 500 makes me really want it to stay open. I'll admit that. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate a little bit of. Like what
you want to play behind the rope. You want to be like it's Vegas, the velvet rope, and we're all watching the World Series of Poker. Here's the reality: this game is never going to be that. Like, I mean, we like it in the community and the casual competitiveness of the game in and of itself, and it's awesome to see it played at a high level. And that's what I really like about the competitive scene about it, because it's still a fun community, and it's awesome to watch people play it at a really high level. But man, I don't know. I
just wish FFG did.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, I think the thing I'm really disappointed that I'm not going to be there this year because of that, of just seeing people in person and these companies just, and I think Magic does and Wizards does to an extent. There's just a community that's built up, and you almost have a responsibility, to cultivate that and to at least acknowledge it and pay deference to it. And they definitely have been getting better. And I think when you go to events like this and you meet them in person, you realize that they're not monsters. They're good people who are working hard and doing the best they can. And yeah, they make a whole bunch of freaking mistakes, but they clearly, the people who are designing it and the other people we've started to meet care about the game. So make it a celebration. And I think, Jack, if you do something that allows you to have that competitive vibe, like that ultra competitive vibe, there's probably a format to do that. I just haven't heard them talk about that yet.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I don't think this game is really at a point where it can be the ultra competitive. I was more saying it just can go invite only if they go broad and do something like a last chance qualifier with it as well to still let
where
people...
the top 300 people qualify.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so it's something like that. I mean, I don't know.
Like, you're going to pay to go to Minnesota, really? No offense to Minnesota, Jedi Geek Girl lives there, and the Destiny Council guys. But I'll tell you what, when it gets started at November, short of Prince, God rest his soul, and maybe some of the Vikings players who don't even live in Minnesota, and a Twins player here and there, Kirby Puckett, but he's also gone. Sorry. I don't know why I know dead athletes and entertainers, but it's just, God damn, they're so lucky people want to even go there.
I hear mid-October is still okay. That's what I've been told. Is
Still
that I can get away
okay.
with
It's not a
hoodie.
great,
It's still okay.
It's just
Yeah,
okay.
it's perfect.
Yeah, it's very okay.
Also,
Yeah.
the desert's not that hot at 11 in the morning.
I've been told that there's potential of hoodie and shorts weather. So
Oh, yes.
I'm cool.
Red
with that.
shorten it.
red shorts.
Yeah, red short life.
My Golden Dice hoodie, man, I'm set. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm
You got
ready.
Golden Dice hoodies?
Get
When did you
bad.
get Golden Dice hoodies?
Teespring,
I
baby.
didn't see that. Where's your store? Is it online?
We
Where
got
how do I-
merch.
Yeah, Teespring.
where do I find merch?
We've had it for a while. I don't know how long ago we made it.
Oh,
We got a
wasn't that part
Savage
of the
Assange
rules? Can't you
t-shirts.
not sell merch if you want spoiler? All right, never mind. Let's see. That's golden.
We don't sell.
Nice.
It's a fan-based website.
Oh, that's right. Here it is. WordPress.net.
Oh, that's
.goldendice.tv.
That's WordPress. Teespring. No, like Teespring. You could just go to our Discord and go to announcements and scroll up. If you ever use Discord.
I'm on Teespring.
But here, Chip, here's I don't know if the Last Chance qualifier sold out or not, but there's 400 seats available for the X-Wing Last Chance and top 64 guarantee for Worlds.
Oh, that seems good.
So, I don't know.
Wait, how does that work? What do I have to do if I want to play? There's
Last
how
Chance
many
qualifier,
seats?
you buy a ticket and they have up to 400 seats.
Oh.
And so, they're making it that big with top 64.
So what is that? Like a whole week-long tournament with it for X-Men?
No, it's not week long.
That sounds insanely.
No, but I think they just do the rounds and then it's top 64, right? They might do 5 or 6 rounds.
Yeah, you don't have to do
There's
that
no
many
top
rounds
cut.
to get to top 60.
So what is? Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they're not doing like a full event and then going backwards.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a cut and you play from there. It's just here's a few rounds, and then once it breaks to an even, whatever amount of people it would be for 64, like record-wise, they get to advance.
just like I can't buy it. I want to buy your hoodie. I can't find it. What's this? It's an article. It says, remember the time we made Scott play Reroll at Gen Con? What is that all about?
Made.
That's a weird article. Who wrote that?
Man, you guys are the worst. You know. And you know what? Now what we're talking about at the end of the meta,
It's a team deck, baby. It's a team deck.
We talked about how good Raylo is at the end of the meta, even before these changes.
Scott,
So I don't wanna hear
don't
it.
give up. Don't ever give up.
I don't have time to play, so that's the only deck I'd be playing because it's the only deck I've built.
Scott hasn't built a new deck since Gen Con. Hey, Scott, you want to play? Yeah, I only have Raylo built still.
I mean, I enjoy playing it.
Yeah.
It's a very fun deck.
I was going to bring Boba Sevens. Could I do that?
I mean, sure.
You can
do whatever you want.
For Infinite. That was my Rochester Regional deck. That got me to a sweet 4-4, I think it was, or whatever.
Nice.
Solid.
All
I
right.
beat 5-a-day Jawa. That was my claim to fame.
So, Worlds 500 people. Talk. Good discussion on the invite versus open. Either way, it's awesome. But let's talk. Right, people are prepping for Worlds. They're prepping for Primes. What are some early decks that you guys say? Like, if we had to make a gauntlet list, what are some decks that you would want to make sure you put onto it in your testing?
Whatever Brian's playing.
Oh,
So
boy. You don't wanna do
some Beckett something.
Honestly, I think that Beckett has legs to stand on, and Aiden's a good partner. Don't Flox and don't think too hard on that.
Hey, I was gonna give in my notes here. I was gonna give Flock a bone and say Beckett Talsum profitable.
Yeah,
There you go.
I tried that with I threw curses in there, like a possessed or something like that. That kind of is interesting. But if you don't get it, it's like it's still fine because you have Talzin's sides to turn, or her ability to turn things, and you have Beckett's money making. So I think that's a good one. I get concerned about the health pool when it comes to Beckett. Who is the definition of a mid. The health pool scares me. But I do like him.
Yeah, and as we talked about, droids are still a thing. They could easily kill Talzin very quickly, turn 2 before you do anything. And Possessed really isn't great against them because they're probably quick resolving stuff. But
Right.
But yeah, they get the bonus of Fickles and Hireds cost 1 and go into Talzin. Entourage costs 3, goes into Talzin. Vader's Fist costs 5, goes in well with Talzin's ability. Pulse Cannon, Beckett Rifle. Possessed would probably be the only curse I run. But yeah, it's certainly interesting. I like the idea of the pairing. I think it's worth testing because we might see a lot more decks that rely on character dice. Something like Raylo. If you think it's good, a Possess against them is probably backbreaking.
Can be.
Yeah, I think that's the only deck you prepare against. I think you're all set. I think you nailed it.
Wouldn't go that
maybe
far.
Palpatine, maybe Raylo, maybe you mix in Jabba supports,
Droids.
maybe droids, maybe
Yeah,
this
yeah.
Maybe.
Do you think
Chopper.
makes the list at this point?
Palpatine 100% guaranteed. I guaranteed. In fact, I would assume that deck's going to be in the top 4 if not in the top 2.
Let me
And I think it's going to be a Palpatine Raylo final, and I think Raylo's going to win. There you go. Boom.
Tech for Palpatine.
Yes, 100%.
Mind extraction. That's about.
Yeah, I mean that's about it, right? I mean,
I don't know how you tech for it, but that'd be something I would do.
I do think Palp, like, I don't necessarily like the matchup into Raylo. Like, I think you can win, and probably the red Palp has a better matchup in a Raylo than Watto does. But overall, it's not like an exciting matchup. Like, if we were at Nova, I would rather. Obviously, I wanted Jabba the most. LOL. But then I probably I didn't mind.
Remember that time?
I didn't mind.
We said I just want to sit down across from a Java.
That's what I get, man. Honestly, that's what I get
all day long.
That's what I get. Phasma 3, put her in the bin. But yeah, so I didn't mind Satine either. I was fine with that. Basically ramp decks in which I can ramp as well and just get uncontrollably out of reach. But then I worried more so about the aggro deck. So like Raylo being able to blank my dice and stuff like that would have been frustrating, and with all the new aggro decks popping up, could be a little nerve-wracking. I mean, Kylo was calling blue, and I mean, like 80% of the deck was blue. What do we have? 2 gray cards, 4 yellow?
Yeah. I would test against that. I'd have it in my gauntlet for sure. Something. But in some way, Phasma, these are those fringe decks, but Kylo will definitely be back.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm not saying cut Palp from your test. Like, he's very much a viable option at all, but he definitely has some weaknesses being pushed out in front. Him being unknown,
I think the Palp deck that's going to be at Worlds, I promise you, I have zero inside information. No one tells me anything, even my own team. I think the Palp build that is going to be at Worlds that will do well has not been made yet, or it's being made and we haven't seen it yet.
Ooh.
I do. I think there's other things there with Palp, and I think that's going to be the one that'll surprise people. I think it won't surprise people initially, but then when they see the build, kind of like Ewoks did, I feel like that's going to be the one that's going to take people by surprise. I still think Raylo is going to win it, and I think it's just going to be because of the quantity of that deck, and good players with that deck. I think are going to do great things.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's not me, Brian, and Flock running Palp, I'm sure it'll go somewhere.
Then we should be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Rip the dream.
Yeah. I do want to say, like, I want to go back, and as you said, like, I want to see if Ewoks can be redefined. Like, even, is there any other battlefield that could take the place of Arena of Death and still be relevant? Like, is there another, what's the other one? What's it? Pentraki Arena, where it's like deal 1 to yourself to deal an unblockable to an opponent. That doesn't sound like enough to make me want to run.
Nope.
There's like no advantage there.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe there isn't. But I mean, maybe that lets you. I mean, you get to drop across the galaxy, and put more burn stuff in the deck. I don't know. Certainly nothing as good as Arena of Death.
Yeah.
Well, it's I mean, the best you're gonna get is something of just 1 indirect. Like the layer of General Grievous is deal 1 indirect to an opponent, unless they give you one of their resources. I guess maybe there is really nothing, but part of me is interested to see what people can go in with Ewoks and come out with. I think they can be somewhere. I think they could still be something, but we'll see.
I hope they aren't.
They could have been a contender.
I hope that Ewoks go extinct. Forever.
I love the memes.
We never see them again. We go back in time, and like the prizes aren't made. Like I don't see Wicked's face on a mat. Like I just get them out of there. Take their coats.
There was a question on Discard to Reroll. I think it ended up not getting asked because we were running out of time. But it was like, "What's your favorite artwork?" I had Ewok Warrior lined up because of the dark, meaty eyes that stare into your dead soul.
Eyes.
I mean, I've seen those eyes in my dreams for the last couple of months. So. Like
Ewoks.discardtoreroll.com.
I've got the 1,000-yard stare. Nom really messed me up. Endor really messed me up pretty bad, man. My time on Endor was not a pleasant one.
Yeah, it was
I'm trying to look at battlefields around there. I don't see anything else. God.
Yeah, there's really just nothing off the top of my head like that makes it interesting. Arena of Death is like really the only one you want. Basically, anything you want to be able to claim and do damage. And I think the only one is like we said, the Pentraki Arena or the General Grievous layer. But then there was also another one. Sith Temple, I think it was, like remove one of your dice to deal one unblockable damage to a character, but that's not like overly relevant, right? You'll take a few actions to actually get that claim off, where with Pentraki or with Arena of Death, you could just claim and win.
I want to play Chalmun's Cantina. Who is Chalmun? And why does he have a cantina? I want to play something no one. They're like, what the hell is Chalmun's Cantina? Yeah, it's like damn right.
Come on, Chip.
You just got reroll, baby.
Come on, Chip.
Scott,
It's called
Scott,
the
access
Moss
data
Eisley.
entry, Chalman.
The
It's on Moss Eisley?
That is the cantina.
Oh. I didn't know Chalmun was the guy. Like Shev Palpatine. Who calls him Shev? No one calls him Shev. Hello, my name is Shev. How are you? Isn't he? He's at an accounting firm that Scott just got hired at. Shev.
I thought it's Sheev.
Oh, Sheev? I call him Shev.
Sheev Palpatine.
Hey, everybody, it's Shev.
I thought you were making a 22 Jump Street reference right there.
My name's Shev.
Hello, my name's Jeff.
Hello. Yes.
My name's
Okay,
Jeff.
but that is his name's Shev. I'm Shev.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't even want to correct you. I just wanted you to keep going.
What is it, Shiv? What is his name?
Sheev.
Who calls him Sheev?
I'm
If they ever
gonna
like,
shove
he's so less formidable. Like, oh, guess what? Sheev is coming. Oh no, not Sheev.
I mean, he has to have a first name.
No, he doesn't. Sting doesn't.
Sting doesn't exist in the
So-
Star Wars world.
Yoda.
Yeah, Yoda. Palpatine
Yoda.
would have been fine. No. Hello, Shev.
My name is Shev.
Yeah. Yes, he's like an old Jewish man. Is really what he's like. Yeah, he's like an old Jersey Jewish guy.
But he's also human. Like all the Yoda's different
Yeah,
species.
he's from Naboo.
Like the Nemans. The Nemans know him, right? The Neiman family. Yeah, Shev and the Nemans.
the Neiman
Sorry.
family.
His own form. Anyway, sorry, I digress. I'm gonna play Chalmun's Cantina. That's a new meta.
What does that do?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want. All these top tier players, all these competitive, Drew Warren over there called me the most overrated guy. Well, guess what, Drew? Come in, you're going to be reading my Chalmun's Cantina. Reroll a character die, yours or an opponent's. Then you may reroll another die that shares a subtype. It's not even a claim; it's a power action. So claim it. I don't care.
Wow.
You get nothing.
You should play that at a Kappa Cup and have a shirt that says, every time you ask you what Chalmers Cantina does, you
Yeah.
drink.
I got schlotzed. I got sheved at Chalmun's Cantina. I can't even say it. I got sheved
Every
big
time
time.
you ask me what the card is, I get to sheave you one time.
Well, Shev isn't the Shmimtar his ship?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? Isn't it the Shimtar or whatever it is? Isn't that his ship?
No, that's Maul's.
Okay, same
He,
thing.
he did give it to Maul.
Yeah.
Did he really? Are you lying now?
No, he did give.
No.
Yeah,
He's got a Lambda.
What, he like gifted it to him? He's like, I bought you a ship.
yeah.
Sheev's ship is a Lambda class shuttle or something like that.
Okay. Sheev ship.
Well,
Oh,
what,
God.
isn't Palp's ship in the game too?
Yeah, Palp
Or
ship
the
exists in the
Imperialis.
game.
It's called Shev's ship. What is his ship called?
It's a Chevy.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
Chevy. It's a Chevy.
He
It's a Chevy.
drives a Chevy Tahoe.
It's a Chevrolet.
But if I need my bells and stuff, man. That's God. Do I even have it?
His ship is the Imperialis.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Imperialis. It's like an Impala.
It's like his secret
Ship.
ship. Pretty sure it first appeared in the comics, I think is what it appeared in.
Looks like that light blue blimp.
Yeah. It's his luxury
Well, I mean,
a luxury pleasure craft.
That's the
Oh,
I'm
like from
pretty sure
like-
Lando steals it.
Yes, and that was where a lot of stuff gets that's where the
That's-
artwork of Slice and Dice comes from too, I'm pretty sure.
And that's where Lobot turns into Lobot.
Yeah.
Because at first Lobot was a person.
Yep.
I think I have a bell. Hold on, let me see if I can play it.
I don't want to kill Mill. I love playing.
Oh, that's close.
So I did that at work. Like people are like, why are you doing that? And like we'll have serious discussion about student learning and all. But
I
like,
don't know.
oh wait, where is it? Oh, it died. Oh, I made it short so I can like mix it. Like
I don't want to kill Mill. I love playing
yeah, I
Mill.
forgot I did that.
What is
Sorry.
happening? That's amazing.
It's my remix. Isn't that awesome?
I
It's so cool. Anyway, sorry.
So what are we playing for?
That really
next,
is on my
guys?
phone, which is ridiculous. But
So what's our gauntlet so far?
I have a headache. I can't.
your gauntlet is you're gonna do Beckett, Towson,
Yep.
DJ,
Yep. Oh,
and Gungan. So get ready.
TJ, that guy.
And Chev.
Go, Chef.
It's all Chev all day.
Get him my Chevy Tahoe.
What about
Right.
what about Vader? Is he real?
No, get him out of here. Take his
No.
coat.
So I played him at my local yesterday, and I was terrible. I was so bad with it, and I got mad and I threw it. I went actually out to my car and threw the deck in my car.
The problem is that that deck is so roll dependent. It doesn't have any of the tricks that it used to have when we had, the Awakenings block, where I'll just roll out, do a Trends in 9 places, play something useful like a Fist or a Darksaber or whatever have you. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
And, now it's just like, all right, I'm gonna roll out, reach the stars, roll again. Maybe I'll hit damage. Maybe I won't. Freeze across the board. Oh, you wanted to play Palpwater today? Sorry, go home.
Yeah, so I think yellow, after playing it yesterday, and it was just this pretty straight up build. Actually, I net decked the one that was at Nova. For me, I think yellow is the right way to go with that all day. I don't think you need to go fast with him. His dice are already protected. If you're playing on the pit, the funny thing is I didn't win the battlefield on a couple of the games that I played. I mean, how is that even possible? I didn't win the battlefield. I lost it to that freaking Claudite deck. It's running. Watto's got how many two? It's all two sides for Watto. He's running Elite Watto, Elite Watt. I think he rolled an 8.
Watto does have really good dice in the roll. Palpwater is a pretty absurd roll off.
Yep.
So you're not gonna win that. But I don't think speed. Yeah, Seize the Day is great, but every time I did it, it just felt bad. And I feel like yellow is the way to go. You delve in a Fist.
Right.
Now we're talking.
It feels terrible to seize the day, attack master, whatever you want to do, and roll out, and you've got 2 shields or 2 resources or whatever. 2 resources I'd even take, but most of the time it's nothing you want to use, and then you waste that second action on a reroll, and then Bob's your uncle, you lose the game.
I think the another guy who I played, who's a big time Vader player at our local, he had some interesting stuff in there, like slowed it down, and he's playing just a lot more supports in there with red, which is possible, but I don't know. So you're going to see him with 500 people, Jack. You're going to see him, so you guys better be ready. You should test against him.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much going to see almost any half relevant deck and above with 500 people. Whether or not you play them is a whole different story, but I would expect it was anything.
Asajj Savage.
Yeah, there's a
brother.
chance. There could be one.
There'll be one.
It'll be me.
There will be one.
I'm the one.
Yep.
You are A1.
Yep.
Steak sauce, baby.
So we talked about Forlom earlier. Do you think he's still relevant, whether it's 2 wide or 4 wide or 4 wide, 3 wide? You think
Forlom's
got a
Forlom
big
stick
butt.
around?
He's relevant.
Did he lose anything?
Has Forlom ever been Has he ever been relevant yet?
I haven't seen him played, to be honest with you.
I think what struggled with it is that he could he was starting to go around. He could snipe characters. He could disrupt and choke people pretty well. But if EMP is being played because of Chopper, it's going to be played, against him, and he's a droid.
Yeah.
And if you're removing Forlom's dice, for 0 cost, you're going to cry.
Didn't I spoil him? Didn't we spoil him?
Yeah,
Or
you
no?
got him, Zuckus, and
and Zuckass.
Yeah, I got Zuckass is right.
and
Yeah.
whatever their ship is. Miss Hunter.
I did.
Jack, can you educate me real quick on who the pairings would be for Forlom?
You could do Iden,
Okay,
or you could do General Grievous with a messenger, an elite Forlom.
gotcha.
Is this the wheel bikes? This could be the wheel bikes coming out party. Tommy quit too soon, or sorry, took a break too soon. He's like
Yeah.
Antonio Brown without the Chargers. He's out, taking a little bit of a break. Maybe he'll show up again. We don't know, but this is his chance.
I don't want to pair that +3 with anything.
It just feels bad. I was never too high on the wheel bike.
Brian called it.
I mean, okay, and so listen, I've been high on a lot of other stupid crap cards. So I mean, my opinion here basically means that at the same time, I've watched Tommy roll out disrupt after disrupt after disrupt on that thing.
Yeah, but then we traded dice and he hit +3 melee.
But he had to work for it, and then in the end, did he ever win that game?
No, but that was also just a rough deck. His original one was good. The Dooku
Also, much
Grievous.
love, Tommy. Miss you, buddy.
Yeah.
Snoke Tarkin.
No. So, well, I mean, yes, that was good. But the original wheel bike was a good deck until
He played you on stream?
The Afro deck came out, and that he just couldn't keep up with that.
Jack is 17-0 on the stream, by the way, just saying.
Okay.
Brian, this is a big night Friday. If you guys stream Friday, Brian, you need to, this is your chance.
I would love to put Jack in his place.
We got to take this seriously. All right, we need to start training. Let's
Mr.
run it through the
Chip,
gauntlet. I'll bring Forlom. All right, we're running through the gauntlet. You really want to play Forlom, Jack. I feel like is Forlom still relevant?
Was he ever?
Guys, is he still relevant, do you think? Yep, I think he is. That's going to be a good one. I want to. Sure. Holy mackerel.
Oh, that's amazing.
This is a chance. Is this could be Plo Koon's coming out party. This is it. Is he still relevant?
Excuse you. He won a grand. Excuse you.
Yeah, he did.
Oh
He
boy.
did.
He won.
He was bellissimo.
Yeah, so Forlom's still relevant.
All right, Forlom's still relevant. We got a great gauntlet, guys. Thank you again for having me. This has been. All right, are we gonna start now? Let's do it. Scott,
All right.
you ready, Scott? We're gonna start recording
Yep.
now. This is
Yeah,
it. We got all that out. Good. Now we'll
Okay.
do the real stuff.
Okay, but actually, right, we're going back. We got Chopper, Beckett. I would put Vader on there. Kylo Phasma, Jabba, Raylo. I would put Forlom on there.
Of course you should. I mean, why? It's a gauntlet, Jack. Of course you're putting Forlom on there.
Do
I
you
mean,
put
only the best.
Yeah, you probably put.
Yoda Leia or
I'd put Chopper Mill, Droid
Yep.
Mill, and
You definitely
I'd
want
put
Hondo. Is Hondo is in there? Yep.
Hondo
You gotta
Beckett.
put some
So I
Hondo.
was
You're trying to make Hondo still work, aren't you?
I wanted to so bad. I just there are so many things in this game where you look at it and you're like, wow, that could be good.
That should be
And,
good. Yeah.
It should be good. Yeah, and you
Really
play
should.
it and you shit the bed because you're in Jack's basement and
Right.
it's dealer's rule. He just stacks the deck.
Right.
yeah, that sounds like an excuse. Also, remember when it was Scott who made me edit all the time?
I have a shirt that says "I shit the bed in Jack's basement." It's a great
He's
shirt.
not- he's,
I
we
don't- it's a
established that
hoodie.
we're
It's a-
allowed to say the word.
I thought we could say
Yeah.
Can we not say
That's one of the words that you can say now. Yep, you can say it.
Amen, brother? All right, so you don't have to
Look at
edit those out.
Look at that. The children. Look at the children.
Sorry, these are bad sound. A phone up. There you go. This is quality.
Chip, you're a national treasure. Did I ever tell you that? National.
Also, a great movie. Just let's be
National.
honest.
National.
Wow.
All right. We covered your gauntlet. Everybody, there you go.
This is.
There you go.
Watch out for
the-
Forlom,
the-
boys.
I know we're not supposed to have it, but the Patreon subscribers are going to come rolling in.
Come rolling.
Get
You know,
ready.
you know what I want to try out though. This is not probably moving on from the gauntlet.
Not terrible.
Probably terrible. I wanna try Jin Cassian again. That's who I want to try. And get.
We talked
Admiral
about
in
that
there.
last night. I talked about it last night.
Did you? I zoned out.
Yeah. No, not with you. It was at my local.
Oh.
It was a monumental local last night.
I'm
Monument.
glad you admitted that you zoned out while not talking to Mr. Chip.
Well, I didn't though. Apparently, I thought maybe I did, but I didn't.
No, it's for your own
What are you, flocked?
health. Yeah. Well, so how would you do that? Would you do like mill and kill style? Or would you do straight aggro?
I would probably go aggro. But just what interests me is that both of them are leaders, and so whoever they don't go after, you can Admiral reset. So that just interests me. Don't know how good that would be, but like certainly even resetting like Cassian seems like insane value because of his dice being able to deal extra damage off of resolves. So
Right. I love that deck.
So is that the only addition you'd make? Is it, you're in command now on Admiral? Or
I probably wouldn't even run You're in Command now. I think I would really just run.
Yeah, it's tough on resources though from the get go, and you're going to run scrap heaps for sure.
Yep.
And like if you don't get that in your opening hand, I found that's like one of the decks I used to play a lot. And so it can hurt a little bit for money.
Yeah, and it's tough too because like you said, you're not really making much money, and ideally you could like pull a reset off of a 3 cost, but like the only 3 cost you're probably running is Jyn Erso's Blaster, and you know,
don't wanna get rid of
especially if
that.
you're resetting her, you don't want to get rid of Jyn Erso's Blaster because you're not going to have too many cards to reroll with, and
Yeah.
that card is just absurd in, getting you to the dice odds you want because it rerolls itself and Jin's dice. It's certainly interesting. I don't really know what it looks like, how good it is. It's probably not super good, but it seems like it's, could be an okay spot again. But droids could easily just destroy
You
my
could
life.
run it, but
Put it in
But
the
why would
gauntlet.
you? Yeah, I don't know. Put it right next to Forlom.
Forlom versus Jin Cassian.
is Jim Cassian relevant again?
That's right.
Absolutely.
At least that was close. That got close to being relevant.
I think
I'd say if you ask Eldest, it's relevant.
Eldest.
Yep.
Oh,
Do you think?
Oh, no. Didn't he play?
Do you think Saw's relevant again? I mean, is now the chance Saw makes a big comeback?
Yeah, this is him. His
This
time.
is Saw's moment to
Yep.
shine again.
Saul Padme.
Yep.
There you go.
This is. I think it's big time relevant.
I remember when that blew on that tried coming a thing when Snoke Watto was a thing, and it was
Yeah.
5-0 at a GQ and everybody's freaking out, and then it finally played against Snoke Watto at the GQ and just on stream, and it wasn't even close.
It literally lost the game in the first round.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good.
And everybody
Brian and I were talking, and Brian and I said to each other, "Is Bib relevant again? Like this could be Bib's moment to
He's
be
a Major Domo,
really
baby.
shine." Yeah, I
Hey,
think it's Bib's chance.
Hey, Brian crushed me with Bib Fortuna in a
Yo,
sealed
remember
game.
that? That was great.
He rolled all specials and rolled an Ayla's dice 3 times. I was like,
Is this true or not true?
that's true.
True.
Okay.
100%. We did a little seal event.
How did that feel?
So good.
You did
Jack
a
counted.
sealed event with each other
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, in Jack's basement.
Yes.
Yep. Not televised or publicized at all because
We
Of
didn't
course
have,
not.
I don't think.
They lost the recording for that one.
that was back before I wasn't part of this.
Were we streaming? They came out in Legacies. That had to be so long ago.
It was 2 years ago, 2 Januaries ago. Yeah.
Holy cow!
Look at that. And we didn't have any of our streaming equipment or anything. We didn't.
Who would know your Legacies cards would be good for 4.5 years? Perfect.
I just,
Yeah.
man, it bums me out so much.
The delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've come to terms with it, and I get it, and it's FFG, so yeah, it's bound to happen. But man,
Would you really want to buy a case right now, though, Brian? The timing might be good for all of us.
no, actually,
Yeah, with all the traveling for Worlds.
a moth just flooded my wallet as we speak. So
All right. George Washington rubs his eyes when he comes out of there.
I will say it makes me feel
Oh, the
better
light.
that we're not alone though in that.
Yep.
Like the fact that Legion's big Clone Wars was huge, new core set got delayed as well made me feel not as bad. I'm like, all right, they don't just hate us. The FFG's just
Yeah.
awful still.
they've done that for Armada too, right? That super Star
Yeah, that
Destroyer
got
was
delayed,
for,
2 quarters.
months. Yeah.
But if something comes out, there's this triple force. Do you know the stream that's coming out Friday? This triple force Friday
It's
stream.
tomorrow, I think. I think it's Thursday.
Oh, it's Thursday. It is tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
They would never. Can you imagine? Just for one moment, Scott, stay with me for this one
Yep,
moment.
I'm here.
All right, here's what's going to happen.
Let's see.
Imagine
That's
tomorrow we're all sitting in our respective places when we should be doing something else, but yet we sneak on the stream, and there it is, and they pull out all these little toys and games and fun things, and all of a sudden, John Boyega brings out this box. He's like, because I guess they're going to have the actors there, right? And they're going to be showing off all the stuff. So John Boyega comes out and he brings this little box, and it's a what's the color? Was it white still?
well, this would be the new technically
Yeah.
for
So
the
maybe
new block,
maybe
so
it's
it
like
could be new color.
what would be the new color?
Bright pink.
Let's
Yeah.
let's say it's
Amen,
pink.
brother.
Dark brown.
Red.
All right.
Red.
Dark brown, perfect, because of the shit that they keep pulling. So now it's this beautiful box that comes out, right? A beautiful shit brown box, but it's a 2-player set, brand new. And they say there's this game, and he does it in an accent because it's John Boyega.
Come play Shiv, guys.
Yep, it's Shiv. It's a Shiv. It's running Epic Shiv, but whatever it is. But it's a new 2-player set. They drop it and they announce it tomorrow. There's going to be millions of people watching that. We might actually get new players into the game. I mean, that's really pushing for it. I would love to just see something drop on the 4th. That would be amazing.
I think it's more likely that John Boyega comes out and says, "Yeah, by the way, set 9 is going to be cancelled. We'll have an article later."
Yeah, that's right. That would be good.
I
Wait a minute. I'm getting no article. No, there's no article.
I'm more like, I don't know, I'm more expecting that if anything gets announced for it, it'll be in the back end of the notes. Last thing, Star Wars pencil toppers, Star
Right.
Wars Destiny.
Yeah, like how
Yeah.
Like, it's like that thing in the business meeting you don't want anyone to hear. Like Toy Story, where he's like, and by the way, Andy's birthday party has been today. Good times.
Yeah.
Great
Just
movie.
like that.
Check it
I
out.
think that's 10
Just
out
like
of 10.
that.
Well, thanks for killing that, Brian. That was
Thank you. It's
a
getting
big
late.
setup, and you just farted all over it.
Thanks, Dad.
That would be amazing, though, if it gets announced at that, which would be crazy.
God, that would just man. We'd have something to talk about around that. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I just think there's
I don't want to kill Mill. I love playing Mill.
He would love it.
I mean, we can talk about how
It's a mill two-player starter.
Yeti Games has killed GQs.
Yes, that's super depressing. I mean, we
Yeah.
still have that on our notes, but we can just dive right into that. GQs are gone.
Might as well, because you have to pay me double when we go over an hour, so we're like 20 minutes over that, so it's fine. Hey.
No, Thunder is he's your contract guy, so he'll pay you.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry. My phone's louder. Like, this setup is better. It's like mobile too.
It is loud.
So Yeti Games canceled the GQs?
yeah,
I mean,
pretty
it
much.
seems that way.
So-
considering
I actually messaged them too, because the schedule came out for PAX Unplugged, which, if anybody doesn't know, PAX Unplugged was like the kickoff of the GQ season.
and they were all big. We had like 100 people at 3 separate GQs last year.
Yeah, PAX Unplugged was great. It was huge. We still had plenty of space, but then they came out and said that space, they're jousting for space, is what they said. From FFG, that's what I heard from FFG. I messaged Yeti Gaming, and they told me that they'll pass along my message to FFG. We're currently
Wait a minute.
working-
Whoa. They're jousting for space at PAX?
Yes. You know how much
We
space
were
we had
in the
last
most you could have landed a B2 bomber where we were. Are you kidding me?
It's a
The only
big
other game that was
convention center.
what was the game that they were playing?
year. There was
like next to
X-Wing-
us.
There was X-Wing next to us, and there was Keyforge.
There was Keyforge, and Keyforge had like 30 people.
Yeah,
Wait a
Keyforge
minute,
was
at
not
PAX?
there. Yeah.
No, there was something like right next. It was a different game. It was like a Marvel game.
HeroClix might have been next to us.
HeroClix.
It was HeroClix. Like there. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, HeroClix was like directly next to us, but if you like went across the walkway,
Oh right,
there was
right.
X-Wing, and then to diagonal from us was Keyforge, I think is what it
There
was.
was so much room there. What are they talking about?
But yeah, so then Yeti said we're currently working with Fantasy Flight to work out additional event details at that time. So currently, right now, all there is pods for PAX Unplugged, which again was supposed to be the kickoff GQ. But they said the Spanish one coming up, a Spanish GQ, I think, is the last official one. But this is all frustrating because Yeti's already announced stuff for X-Wing and Keyforge, I believe. And so the fact that Destiny is...
And L5R.
And yes, the fact that we're below L5.
Like we get
It's a joke.
escape pods.
Yeah.
And it's like, FFG says in their Facebook announcement, like, oh, there's still going to be tournaments at PAX Unplugged. Like, do they consider an escape pod a tournament?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's crazy...
I will say I had 100 times more fun playing in escape pods with you guys. I know you didn't, but I had way more fun doing that.
I had a lot of fun.
That was
I
a
just
blast.
kept killing everybody with
Yeah,
Black
you
One.
were. That was crazy.
So
including DJ.
Yeah, you were good.
I'll say what
I
they
don't care
have.
what your team says. You were good.
So all weekend, start time, all day, event is on-demand pods, $10 entry. Right, compete in escape pods, trilogy standard, infinite, on-site registration. Please arrive 10 minutes before. So that's what you normally would think of on-demand pods. Their scheduled events are Star Wars escape pods. Like, it's literally the same thing, $10, but they're just scheduled. They're scheduling an infinite one, a standard one, and a trilogy one. But
Why
it's
would I?
literally all
Why
the
would I
same
go
thing.
to PAX Unplugged, spend $60 for my convention ticket, or $40 if you just go for a single day, to spend $10 more to do an 8-person tournament?
Yep.
Yeah,
You
and
wouldn't. That's
like,
how you did.
is-
It's ridiculous.
is Cascade, like, the owners of the spot, like, are spot glosses even going to be there? Like, that's the question. Like, I don't-
Yeah, I think it's done. I think they killed it for that.
And
That's
honestly,
too bad.
again, like with covert missions, my wallet is breathing a sigh of relief, but like my will to play this game is waning.
Yeah, cap a
Yeah,
couple
because
of days.
that was a great event.
I love
I
PAX
can't-
Unplugged.
I
Yep.
can't say to the GQ success overall, but I can say we obviously saw some that were smaller, but we did see some that were successful and larger in size. And PAX Unplugged was 3 days of 100-ish person participation, and to have that scraped down to just pods, while other
Yeah.
games that had less participation are still getting full events, is just really messed up.
And that was your launch. They used that last year, and I think the year before is the launch of the spot glosses and stuff. And
It was a pretty bad launch, though. They didn't even have, like, the new updated mats. They, like, waited.
okay, Jack. Yes,
So-
you're right.
So, do you guys remember when we
I don't know if it was beginning of this year or whatever have you, when we went around and I don't want to say frequently, but every so often we kind of go around and grade FFG's performance this year, like how they've been doing that year.
Yeah.
Where would we put them now? And I know that this isn't entirely like I don't know if that's Yeti or FFG or whoever.
Well, it's
Depends
so
on the department at this
FFG
point.
gave Yeti the contract for this. You would assume that given that they are essentially not licensing, but giving a company the ability to run these tournaments, that they could have attached conditions. You know, these are the type of tournaments that you have to run. These are the games that we want supported. If they didn't attach those conditions, it's just because they don't care and/or are incompetent.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like, where do you think the future of this game is going if this is how we're like seeing events being treated? And this is supposedly the year of communication too, but like,
if it weren't for Matt Holland, they would get a -F.
I agree. I think Matt Holland's doing a superb job.
He's the only thing that is keeping the wolves at bay.
And he's like in a cartoon, if like he's like bucketing the water out of a sinking ship.
He's the Dutch kid with his finger in the dam.
Right. I just how much can you take?
They were on such a roll, though. They were in such a roll. Like, they were doing those streams.
Right.
Like, like they just were on the right path. They really were. And man, oh man, couple really big missteps there.
Man, I'm not even like, I mean, I'm definitely frustrated with a lot of things, but I don't know if I'm overly negative just yet. Like, I mean, as you mentioned, Matt's been doing a great job, but like the delay kind of sucks, and them giving a contract to Yeti Gaming, who has no idea what they're doing, is frustrating. But
and Yeti Gaming hasn't at all reached out. Like, all right, Yeti Gaming knows nothing about Destiny. That is a thing. That's fine. Maybe you shouldn't give the contract to run Destiny events to a company that doesn't know anything about Destiny. But all right, you do. Yeti Gaming could have been like, all right, Destiny community. There's a shit ton of podcasts that have big community groups. There's a Facebook group with like 12,000 people in it. Maybe start any lines of communications with any of those avenues. You can figure out what the Destiny community wants, what level of support the Destiny community is going to provide you to kind of bridge that knowledge gap that you may not have with the game. Didn't do any of those things. People have reached out to Yeti Games, and they've gotten just all right, yeah, we'll see what we have coming down the pipipeline.
Yeah, and you compare that to Steve, who has been, like, he was on our podcast, he was on, like, Artificery, he was on a few different ones. He was good. But I wonder if, like, the attention from Cascade came from, Cascade wanted to move to non-badged events for GQs, whereas, like, if you talk with FFG, like, their requirements for Grands and like, Nova, or Continentals, or whatever it's called for Gen Con, was a requirement that it had badges. So I wonder if there was, like, a tension there between that FFG still wanted badged events for their paid tournaments that weren't at a local game store, but Steve was trying to move in a different direction. I don't know. That's something interesting to think about.
Maybe
as well.
Cascade just didn't want to deal with FFG and their bad OP.
No, Steve was planning. Like, he had stuff ready for the fall. Like, I know he was trying to get stuff in Texas. He was talking about doing one in October in the Northeast as well. Like, he had stuff. He was ready to go. And I don't know what happened. And I think, from what I understand, and the conversations that I even had with Cascade at the end, like, they were fully prepared to keep these GQs going. It was a sudden change from FFG that they seemed almost surprised by.
Well, that would be, more of FFG's not competence as far as running OP.
I mean, I guess, but do they really, if they're canceling a contract with anybody, I mean, I don't know. I almost think they don't owe Cascade anything to be like...
No, they don't owe Cascade anything, but clearly they did not have a transition plan in place.
Yeah, that's fair.
If this is all right, you don't owe anything to Cascade, but you do owe something. You owe something to the players. They're expecting, if you're going to cancel a contract with Cascade, that you're going to have a replacement for Cascade. And just canceling the event not canceling the event, but just having the event phase out with zero notice. Essentially, FFG posts, oh, this is our last GQ. We've got other things coming on board, the same day that we find out, like, there's nothing at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if that Keyforge vending machine is sitting in PAX Unplugged, oof. I
mean, I currently have faith that there's going to be more, because when I've talked to Matt Holland, like, it seemed like there's they're looking for something more at PAX Unplugged. And he said it wasn't going to be quite a GQ, but like it seemed more than pods.
But then we're back to the same issue we had with the delay, not delay article.
I don't disagree. And obviously Matt's hands are probably tied behind his back, and he would love to tell us, but he can't because FFG's being dumb. And like we talked about before, like the whole issue with Nova then being capped on space, but it's like nobody's going to buy tickets early because it's a badge type thing. And I don't know. Now just this whole debacle of like, we'll have to buy PAX stuff. What if stuff sells out and there's issues, and it's last minute of people telling us about it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
We have, it does, as Brian said, it gets to a point where you're like, all right, you just have to kind of stop rewarding the behavior and stop expecting anything from them.
Right. I mean, at this point, we've been through this how many times, and with no signs. Well, I mean, like Chip said, they were doing great. They were doing pretty good. I mean, I think that at some point I gave them I would say they're at a B+, right? And I would say at this point they're probably at a D-.
I mean, but does them adding the Las Vegas Grand not show that they're listening? I mean, they messed up with this GQ stuff, and I'm not trying to scapegoat that on them, but I don't know. To make it seem like they're not doing anything and they're all backtracking, I think is
because the Las Vegas Grand, that type of stuff was something that they had already previously talked about.
Yeah, but that sparked from discussion of why is there only one Grand in the United States when it's larger than many of the countries? So it's like, they're taking one step forward and two steps back instead of just taking steps forward.
I would agree with that. I find myself rolling my eyes more than praising them for what they're doing.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just, to me, I almost don't chalk covert missions up to anything. Like, I don't know. I don't super hold that against them. It's overall frustrating, but... Well,
I mean, I'm more talking about how they handled it than anything. Like, a delay is fine, but, an article's coming, and then no, it's not, and then, well, should I even say that in the first... I don't know. It's just amateur hour, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think you're going to get that from, I don't really know if that guy that does PR is full-time or if he's just, a part-time intern type thing. And
picked him off the streets?
And that's what he's kind of doing. And that's who he's kind of been. I don't know, he's just on the show, and it's why even answer the Destiny question if you don't have an answer for it?
Right.
It's just the type of thing where, they've talked before, all right, we want to do more than just the one Grand in the U.S. All right, so we got the Las Vegas Open up, but we're taking your GQs away. It's all right, well, the community was expecting you to do those additional Grands and then still have the GQ level events.
But what's the latest that you would I don't know. Part of me would still give them another month to announce the GQs before I get insanely frustrated with it being too last minute. I think a month before is what they would need to do for GQs, because ultimately GQs weren't something as big as a Grand. They're probably the same levels of Prime where you're just you're going to it if you're local. So if you have a month's notice, that's probably fine enough. It's not ideal, but it's fine enough if you're planning to go PAX Unplugged.
If PAX badges sell out or anything like that, then it's going to be a problem.
Have they? I really don't know.
I don't remember at all. I was bought them very early.
Yeah, and I think they're fine. I feel like I remember their 3-day was still not sold out, but sometimes individuals were or something. I forget exactly.
But it is the type of thing where less people are going to go to PAX Unplugged to play Destiny, regardless of what they announce at this point, because people are now they're going to be like, all right, well, you know what, I should figure out something. I should do something else with my time that weekend. I'm not going to pencil it into my schedule anymore.
I mean, a concern I have is so we kind of all abandoned ship, right? Not all of us, but there's a good number of people that abandon ship for PAX because the GQs are dead, right? There's just pods. There's no real reason to attend. We don't even know if there's spot losses, whatever have you, or prizes. And then FFG sees that as oh, well, people aren't interested anymore. Let's just scale back a little bit more. Is that a thing that could happen, or?
I personally don't think so, because I feel like Matt Holland would see the reaction and pass that along. I feel like
that doesn't necessarily mean they listen.
I mean, sure, but I don't know. We also don't know if that's final, though, that there's just going to be pods. That's my also overall point, is that Matt alluded to there being something more.
Yeah, but then it's the type of thing where there's no communication.
But why not just say, hey, it's coming?
Well, no, it's
not saying anything at all.
We're alluding to something more, but here's the schedule for the events. Everybody else has their events. except Destiny.
I don't.
Are we really that much of an afterthought?
Again, I don't really disagree. Like with what you're saying, I just maybe I'm not as viewing it as an outright negative thing just yet. Again, if it doesn't happen, then I'm in the same boat. But again, like if it's a month out and they announce it, everybody still has a potential chance to buy PAX Unplugged and GQ tickets because it is a local event.
So I'm curious, Jack and Chip. You haven't given a letter score for FFG, and if you don't want to, just say pass. But I'm curious, if you had to give them a letter grade, what would you say they're sitting at right
Man,
A+, baby. They're doing great. I love that kid they got off the street when he's answering Destiny questions. Like, why would you ever take that question ever?
Yeah.
Like, what are you thinking? There's no reason to do that. That was straight up moronic. That was the worst possible but it doesn't matter. They're like Teflon. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. But I will say one thing. If you go to teespring.com/get-golden-dice-podcast.
God, you made that so terribly hard, Jack.
Yes. !TS Mac equals store. If you go there, you can buy an 88-inch by 104-inch wall tapestry for $50. And because I'm mentioning that, Jack no longer gets spoilers. Secondly, I will say this. You're like my wife, who will talk to me about dinner next week when I'm not even eating the current dinner. It hasn't been served yet for tonight. I think go to Worlds, have fun, see what it's like there. I think you're going to feel totally different when you get back. The game's not going to be dead. You're going to be thinking, man, it's fantastic. They just got a couple buffoons over there who probably shouldn't be doing their PR work for them. And Matt's great. We all know that. And all it takes, and he's done a good job, I think, even for a company that is good at communication, but all it took was someone even answering a question. Like, that's all we were looking for. Like, the bar was so low. Like, they just had to respond with anything other than a freaking Elmo emoji. Like, someone thought that was a good idea. Like, when you have people who are passionate about a game, somebody thought the Elmo emoji going, like, that was a great strategy to communicate back with. So, the bar's super low for them anyway. So have fun at Worlds. Play, the real question, Scott, is Forlom still relevant? Yes or no? Be honest right now. Yes or no?
No.
Oh, damn it.
You ruined the dream. And I think Chip, I think that's my overall feeling of it too. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's some good stuff on the horizon, and we're like, I don't know, just overly negative about certain things. I get the frustration again. I don't think it's unwarranted, but I think there's just a lot of good stuff to focus on right now as well.
I was really ticked. I mean, I was ticked about the covert missions just because I did plan it out, and there are people. I'm usually not one of them. I need to be more like one of those people, but that plan things out. Conventions are very planned. Like, I'm already late if I wanted to go to Gen Con next year. Like, you have to buy your hotel rooms and get in the lotteries and stuff.
Well, no, none of that has happened yet.
It hasn't?
No.
Okay, so I'm still early?
That usually happens early in the year.
Yeah. All right. See, but I mean, you at least know what's going to be there and what's coming up, and it'd be nice to have a calendar. We've said this all along, but they're never going to get there.
Yeah.
Doing things last minute or closer to last minute or just not ahead of time gives people the impression that you either don't care or don't know what you're doing. And if you give people that impression, they're going to be less inclined to go out of their way to do things.
Yep, agree with you.
What about Las Vegas?
100%.
Do you think that was a good timing? We're 4 months away.
I mean,
that's a good move.
Yeah,
I do. I think and I understand other people need more time too, and I definitely respect that when you're trying to travel and plan. But listen, the West Coast needs some stuff too, and 4 months that's enough time.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's ample time as well. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, come on, and let's figure it out. Holy cripes, we could be dead in a week. Like, just 4 months is good. It's plenty of time.
I mean, 4 months is literally in a different year.
Yeah,
maybe even a different set.
Yeah.
Ideally, I think
it is so far away that there will be another Destiny set.
There is a chance. There's a chance there is not. Yeah. Just as
there definitely is.
Can you imagine? That would be
really
bad. That would be really
It
bad.
would just
That
be
would
bad
be
optics.
Well, it would have to release like Legacies did, because the the Grand is like the weekend of 24th, 25th, 26th of January. So that needs to drop on the 10th.
yeah.
So wait a minute, is that when it is in Vegas?
Yeah, it's the last full weekend of January.
There is a really good chance it's not going to be there.
There is a
I've heard
Very good
rumors that we are or should be expecting as early in Q1 as it could possibly happen. That's the earliest rumors I've had already from stores talking with line shows.
It pretty much has to be, because even at that point, you're talking your longest delay. So anything after that, you're just setting records.
Yeah.
And then you do have a realistic problem if it's like, let's say hypothetically it's first week of February. So you spent the entire January as well as, the preceding time before that without the set coming out. That's like a too big of a portion of your prime season.
Yeah, what's it go till March?
Yeah, it's like all of your prime season,
Yeah.
especially since a lot of the events are front loaded. So it's just the type of thing that, like, if you do that, people are going to have very minimal faith about the going concern of the game
Yeah.
and FFG's thoughts about it.
I also think there's in terms of like the long delay, I think it has to be taken into account a little bit how quickly we got Spark of Hope. Like, I think that was the shortest between any sets.
It was the shortest
conversions.
between any set, but it was on time to what it would have been had the previous set not been delayed.
It didn't. Well, it ended up arriving on time. I mean, it's like Q1, and granted, it came the last weekend, but it came.
Yeah, well, and so it's basically like if you're looking, all right, a set's going to come out every 4 months. The preceding set was a few weeks late, and then this set was a few weeks early. Had you mapped it out from, I guess, when Legacies dropped, when we got, what is it, Spirit of Hope? I don't even remember the name anymore.
Spark of Hope.
Spirit of Hope. Yeah,
Spark of Hope. That would have been pretty much in line with what it should have been had there not been a delay to the previous set. So it's like, is it early or was that on time?
A wizard is never late.
Rise
precisely when he needs to.
Yeah. Well, because you got to think with the way that FFG set out how these sets are produced, when a set is being shipped over here, the other set's already in production. As soon as one set gets off, the other set gets on. So in theory, a delay of one set should not affect the subsequent set, provided it's not like a production delay.
Do you know what's not delayed? Premium tank tops for $15 USD over at the Golden Dice Podcast. Teespring.com/get-golden-dice-podcast.
Amazing.
Question mark. Sweet ass teas.
I don't think.
I actually had a coworker compliment my Golden Dice baseball shirt, and he's like, "Where can I get those?" And then I had to look up. The
Do
link
you
for
know
it.
what the Golden Dice is? It's like I thought it said Golden Showers. I
He-
apologize.
He has played Destiny. He plays Magic the Gathering. He has played Destiny twice, but his Magic the Gathering day was on Monday, and for the longest time that was our Destiny day. So it was like that didn't work.
Tuesday. Come on, it's been me, you, and Brian for forever.
Yeah,
and
but
now we don't even go.
he works on Tuesday nights.
Tell him to quit.
Actually, he actually did put in his notice, but he's moving to the Finger Lakes.
Oh, well, welcome. Also, Destiny is a game like, hey, here's a tip. If you want to
You
grow
live
the
near
game,
Finger Lakes?
I do. Yep. I
Good,
do.
so
All
he's
of them.
he's going to go work for wineries up in the Finger Lakes.
Yeah, I'm so in Canandaigua is right where I am, and that's the
Okay, I'll tell him that I know some people that live in the Finger Lakes.
we'll hook him up. Yep. If he's a nice guy and he's dealing with wine, he's invited over.
He's a sommelier, so he's got a thing.
A sommelier. Oh, that's fancy.
He's a second level
a
sommelier.
wine drinker. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, here's a great way to grow the game. You go to someplace in New Jersey. You go to, I guess there's a Chinatown there, and you go to the only American bar there, and you start playing Destiny. And
It
people
was in
love it.
Philadelphia.
Where was that? Was that in Philadelphia?
Philadelphia, yeah.
There's no
Oh, I
Chinatown.
forgot even where I was.
Yeah.
There's no Chinatown in New Jersey. I'm sorry.
There might be in some of the North Jersey cities, but not in there's no Chinatown in Camden.
Sorry, Chinatown, Philadelphia.
Fact. All right. We'll finalize. The last one we want to talk about was the 2v2. but I don't know if we have enough time for that. But
They do. Or die cut stickers, $5.
there is a new 2v2 multiplayer rule, which I think is awesome for the game.
Jack is going to edit all this out, by the way, just so we know.
Go check it out. I think it's a really interesting thing. I kind of wish this was at Worlds, but it's not.
Yeah, why are they not running it at Worlds?
Yeah, it's a good question. Legitimately do not know.
That was really weird, wasn't it?
Like, would
it's
anyone
really cool.
would anyone be up in arms if FFG was like, hey, you know what? We're changing the. I suppose it's with the one they're doing at Worlds is the 3-player one.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think the
Yeah, all right,
3-player one
so
doesn't
maybe
require.
maybe that's why. But it's like the type of thing that it's like it's a side event. Like, come on.
Just do it yourself. Like, seriously, it's Minnesota. No, like, what are they going to do? Stop you? Just set it up in the corner. Like, who cares?
That was the plus side about having Worlds at like FFG's event center. In that like little front area, you did have, or even in like the lobbies of the hotel, you did have some like room to do other things if you wanted. I don't know if that's going to be the case at their whatever convention hall they're at.
Well, there's a letdown for you. All right, we'll move on to Patreon questions. I think we only have
Yeah,
like
like
one
what's
real
not-
one as per
Yeah.
usual. Chip, you were saying yours are bad. I mean, ours are. Our first question actually was, when are you calling Mr. Chip on to the big leagues to fill in for Tommy?
God.
And here we are.
I am not filling his shoes. Tommy is he's a legend in our own minds, and he's fantastic. He never gone.
Agree.
No one's ever really gone.
No one's ever.
No one's ever really gone.
Batmander says, chances of Mr. Chip canceling due to his perpetual stress migraines less than an hour before you record.
Hey, Chip, I have a question.
Please, Brian.
When are you bringing Bat Manderson on the podcast there?
I would love to do that. In fact, we used to have a podcast back in the day till he quit.
He
no.
was on one episode like a month back.
He was. Yep. Actually, he was. He is. I'm going to be doing dojo stress testing with him next Friday.
Ah.
My testing is going to be 3, like playing Raylo once and maybe Palp before he has too much porter.
Hey,
So,
it sounds like
I can relate to that test.
Very similar. Yeah. That's our test. We have a very similar testing team. Should be good.
It's the best
But-
way to do it. Let me tell you.
Thankfully, if you need 6 mil calendared vinyl with pressure sensitive adhesive, gloss white finish for a high quality look and feel, you know the right place to go. Teespring.com, the Golden Dice Podcast sticker. $5. Add it to your cart now. Free rush shipping. It says, please allow 9 to 16 business days for standard shipping. Jack, you complain about being on the boat, right? These stickers have been on the boat. What are you kidding me? 6 to 19. It's a sticker.
Hey man, I don't
Sorry.
run the company.
Oh,
Jesus, Christmas, 9 to 16 days.
Some random questions was Inception asked, does Golden Dice actually podcast, or is this just a big hoax? Well, we'll find out, I guess.
Filling our once a month quota right now.
Banana wants
This
to know,
is-
do they stream on Twitch anymore? Tommy took a step back due to family. What's Shane's excuse? I don't know. You got an
Was
hour
she
or
never
two?
really here?
Shane really? Dude, we're all playing World of Warcraft together as friends, and Shane's not even playing that with us, man. Not even.
Is this live? You're not doing this live, are you?
No.
Oh, okay, if it's live. There'd be so many F-bombs, and they'd take back your spoilers. They'd be
Yeah,
like, "All right,
Jack
listen,
Jack
come on."
wouldn't put me on live for this.
We did. Well, not for this, but
Yeah.
what did we do live? Oh, we did our Han Solo spoilers, and we also did.
Oh,
Yeah.
we
was
did
that
our-
the porn reference you did?
I was told to be on my best behavior.
Oh my
Yes.
God, there was one stream you were going off about. Was it like? Oh yeah, it's bad.
What, Chief Turpus Hut?
No, the gay porn or something. It was really rough.
Oh, Scott. Yeah,
it-
he just yelled that into his stream once. Just
Right.
like,
It's Tommy and I's.
That was-
It's Tommy and I's like, chant that gets us pumped.
Oh right.
I was playing him, I remember, and he just started yelling that, and I was like, I don't know what's happening.
And I
We've
don't
done-
care. Like I'm
We've
not.
done that
You
before,
can
people.
watch whatever you want. It doesn't matter to me. I love everybody.
Have you?
But
not,
it was just an odd thing to say when you rolled out a character. Like that was very. I didn't expect you to mention pornography when you rolled out your forearm.
have you ever seen? You've never seen the movie Goon, have you?
You know what? I have seen Goon. Is that what that was from?
That's where that's from.
Oh, okay.
Where
It's better.
The captain is giving a pep talk,
Yeah.
and he tells them that they need to be triceps, biceps, arceps hard, Greek underground gay porn hard.
That's what it is. Greek underground, right?
Yeah.
And Forlom rolled
and,
the disrupt.
And actual question, this is the only one we got, so this is amazing, right? Mantra01 says, advice for kitchen table players strongly considering attending their first prime.
Can I take this one?
Take it, dude.
So, speaking as a kitchen table player who did go to a store champ for the first time, right? And I'll tell you what, people have even said this to me before. Like, I sucked. I straight up was not good at this game. I'm still not, the best around. Don't get me wrong, because you see me on stream, and let me tell you, it's not that impressive. But as someone who was a kitchen table player and brought, I think my first was Mom Mothma Hired Gun, which, why? with a
You foresaw the 3-wide. You saw it.
I did, yeah. A launch bay in there. I was like 1-4 on the day. Just keep playing. Honestly, keep playing. Talk to people that play the game. Like join a bunch of discords and kind of pay attention to the conversation. Ask questions and there's only up from here. You know what I mean? And the more you play, the more you understand like the subtle nuances of the game. The deck building and paying attention to your board state, your opponent's board state. Practice makes perfect, and or as close to it as we can get. So absolutely go and kind of take what you want and just soak in the experience because it is a lot of fun as much as I do shit on this game and those who make mistakes making it. It's a great experience and I'm still doing it years later. So you should go and have fun.
There you go. Dunk it.
Any other advice?
I would practice like your setup. That because you like things that you should have under control, like where you're going to put your deck and where you're going to put your resources and where you're going to put your dice. Like have all that stuff figured out. Like practice shuffling and like know the order of things that you're going to roll out, and then whatever. Pick the battlefield. Like get all that stuff. Where's your battlefield going to go? And the more you can just get your space feeling good and comfortable, and that won't be weird to practice at home when your wife's like trying to watch TV and listen over and things are ridiculous.
Tommy kept him going.
Shuffling your deck and like, hey, good running backs in the NFL, they like sleep with the ball under their arm. And like, I take my little deck to bed. That didn't sound right. But yeah, but get your setup stuff out of the way so that's automatic because you're going to be nervous. And the more you can just practice that kind of thing, the more you can focus on the game.
Also, I still struggle with this years later. And again, if you've watched any of our videos where I'm playing, you can see the most recent one. I still, and Jack tells me this every time I go to a tournament. Like I'll lose a game or two in a row and then get just so pissed off.
Oh God, it's hilarious.
It's so.
Brian gets angry when he wins.
I do. So like I think I have some problems I have to work out with a registered licensed therapist. Yes. My point is, try to see through your mistakes. Like take note of what you're doing. Don't get super tilted and to the point where you can't focus on what you're doing and you're making stupid sloppy mistakes. People will often this is a great community. So like when you finish a game,
it's pretty good. It's not great.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's actually bad.
So in this community, like when you finish a game, chances are you haven't gone to time, right? And strike up a conversation with the person, because chances are, and this has happened to me many a time, they're going to talk about what just happened, right? So they're going to tell you like, hey, I think that you could have done this here, or let me, do you mind if I look at your deck and give you some suggestions or advice? Because it's happened to me, and I'm happy to listen again, but let's try to struggle through the tilt,
Yeah. If somebody asks to look at your deck after, they're not trying to be inappropriate. Just remember that.
Yeah, I would echo what Chip and Brian said. Like, the first one you're going to, don't value results over your experience. Like, go there, just have fun. Talk with the people that you're playing against. Especially if you end up dropping your first game or two. As you get to the middle table and stuff, things get really relaxed. And even like the higher tables, things are relaxed. So don't freak out. Like, really just enjoy yourself. Talk to the people around you. If you focus on results your first time, that could be something tough. So just be ready for the day. Bring a snack, bring water, things like that. So you're ready to go through potentially 7 rounds of Destiny and a top cut if you end up getting there. But yeah, my advice would just be focus on the community and the people there, and worry about the games, as a second thought. Still try to play well, try to stay focused. Don't give negative responses to other people, especially as you get more competitive. You do start to realize that, ultimately it is still a dice game, but the good players do usually rise to the top. So there is, a form of strategy and consistency within this game of dice. So don't get salty about certain things. Like, nothing is more like revealing of your character if you lose a game and you just like start to make salty comments.
Only in the basement.
Well, yeah. There's also a difference between me and you, and like, if it
I've
was
known
at,
Jack for 20 years, and I can tell you right now, this is not the first thing I've lost to him consistently.
Yeah.
Freedom
Jack
Fighters,
has
baby.
beaten me in. Oh, dude, the Freedom
I
Fighters
play-
for the PS2.
Oh, boy.
God. Madden, like when we played Madden, it was like 144-7 at halftime.
Yeah.
But
You know, Jack, adversity doesn't build character; it reveals. So when stuff like that happens, I'm a big believer in that in life. You know what also helps? A premium long sleeve tee. You can buy a podcast for $20 at teespring.com/get-golden-dice.
Because it can be pretty cold in
can
some.
be
Well,
cold.
not so much in these stores, but convention level events, it actually gets a little chilly.
Yep, it's this. You know what would help is a nice slim fit and being unisex. This is a great shirt. They also
They're
go up
very
to 5X, so I don't know what you're saying there, but it is a very nice shirt, also in white. So there you go.
all right, so we'll wrap up here. Chip, who are you? Where can they find more of you?
You go over to doubleblanks.com and then you check to see if you're still subscribed to that. If you are, they haven't made a show in probably a year and a half. So you might want to unsubscribe. Head over to Golden Dice and you can see me there.
Golden Dice. Yeah.
Yep. Just type in goldendice.net. We're over at discardtoreroll.com. It's ewoks.discardtoreroll.com. Love to have you. We'll be at the Primes in the 5th over at Penfield Just Games. You can meet me and laugh as I miss the cut. And then at Kappa. Can't wait to see you guys at Kappa. It'll be a lot of fun. Zach, Bat Manderson, and I will be down there. And I think Banana Crapshoot. He's going to be like a celebrity out there.
He was telling me he might go to Worlds if he judges. There's a
That's
chance.
what I'm hearing. That's the latest words. But,
Even with his new child.
Well, I think the convincing point is
Yeah.
that he would get paid.
That's a valid point.
that helps.
We
yeah.
probably should congratulate both him and Mended on their new children.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Hey,
say,
man,
like-
Tommy, man. Holy cow. Something's in the water.
Like, I can't, like, being a content creator, like, it's really great, like, going and meeting people, you know, and it's great competing at events, but I gotta say, like, it's been super humbling, like, looking in Discord and just seeing, like, people share, you know, these large events of their life, you know, having their newborn kids, and I don't know. It was
Not getting invited to people's
It
weddings.
was, it was super humbling. Yeah, exactly.
No, you're right. It's pretty cool. I mean, that it has a life of its own. And so, to Brian's point, you know, like they just whatever. It's a game, and they're just we can kind of laugh at the stupidity at a lot of it, but we've met great people. I met you guys, and I wouldn't trade any of that. So it's been awesome. So
Yeah, no,
when after we get mad at FFG because it's important. It's
Yeah.
a part of your life, and there is a responsibility there. So tell them to stop effing it up.
Yeah, I think that's what bothers you so much because it's something that I appreciate, and you know, I honestly, it's gonna sound stupid, but like I've had some ups and downs in the last couple months, and this is something that's kept me on track for better or worse. You know, it's something that I can always come back to, and it means a lot to me. So I think that's why I get so charged up about it, and why I'm a little more disappointed than I would be usually. But it is a great experience, and I have met some great people, and it's awesome.
This is like the longest
That's
Brian
pretty-
has stuck with anything. It's amazing.
Jesus, yeah.
Honestly, it's true. I mean, Classic WoW's getting there.
Getting there.
Hey, Brian,
2
you
weeks.
know what will help you feel better? Is a glass of tea in a beautiful Golden Dice mug, $10 USD at teespring.com. They're great.
Mr. Chip, when can I get one of your mugs?
You can actually go to shop.discardtoreroll.com, but clearly my prices are ridiculous because I forgot it. What is mine? Spreadshirt, I think we use. Holy cow. How do you get this so cheap? Maybe it's the 3-week shipping that has to do with it. This is
Ooh,
pretty
look at
good.
these
Ship when you
designs.
feel like it.
But if it gets too hot over at Worlds, a premium tank top would be
Ooh.
helpful.
Ooh, $15 for a discard to reroll mug. Whoa.
Yeah, but look at it though. It's got the words on the back there. It's pretty cool. They're pretty sweet.
All right. That is that. Chip.
Scott,
discard to
congratulations
reroll.
on your job.
Last thing for Golden Dice is Facebook, Twitter,
Scott
YouTube.
left. I think did Scott actually
no.
leave?
I'm still here. I just didn't want to interrupt Jack's outro.
Oh, I'm
because,
sorry.
you know,
I forgot. You guys get in trouble when you do that, and he can't do that.
He's playing WoW. All right, he's gone.
I am not. I literally am not.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I wouldn't blame you.
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. One thing I always forget to say, but if you could leave a review on Facebook, leave a review on iTunes or whatever you're listening through, that would be cool. I usually forget that's a thing, but if you want to give us
How do I do that? How do I leave a review on Facebook? You just go in and say it's. What do you have to, like, review your post? What do I do?
No, there's if you go right to our page, like usually on the right hand side, you can rate it on some form.
You can tell me how stupid I am and how bad my decks are.
You are not stupid.
Well, I think one of our reviews is actually from Banana Crapshoot, and it says good group of guys minus Shane, and I think that was literally just his 5-star review.
Hey,
I appreciate
you know what?
that.
5 stars, baby. All day.
But do that, and obviously mentioned earlier, we do have Patreon. If you guys want to help support, we're still unsure exactly about what's it called? Streaming at Worlds. First we were out, but it seems like there's less people doing it than I expected, so maybe we'll try to see if there's a way to swing that, but we will keep you posted. But yeah, until then, we will see you guys next time. Oh, Chip, you give us the exit. Come on. What am I doing here? Amateur hour.
That's a lot of pressure on me. Hold on a minute. I think I got something.
All right, what is he pulling on?
There you go. GoldenDice.net.
Living my life, ain't got stress no more. I'm putting on my shades to cover up my eyes. I'm jumping in my ride. I'm heading out tonight. I'm solo. I'm hunting solo. I'm hunting solo. I'm hunting solo. Solo. Feeling like a